All right, guys. So today we had CPI inflation data. It is the biggest market day of the month, essentially here with CPI inflation data. And we'll see if we get anything good today. Expectations are overwhelmingly coming in at about 3.3%, about 0.2% on the month for most of the different analysts today. We also have PPI tomorrow, but again, CPI expected at 0.2%. Year over year, CPI expected at 3.3%. And yeah, this is a big release. This biggest again, this is the biggest economic day of the month. And yeah, again, hit that like button on the way in here. We'll see what we get. Again, today they're expecting 3.3% on the month and or on the year, and 0.2% month over month. Again, let us know if you guys think they're going to hit that or not. But yeah, it's time. Let me get some music playing as well. Yeah, it's a big boy day. We're going to do a poll here like we always do. CPI show up as today. Over. We're going to give three options under 3.3%, at 3.3%. Or should we do the monthly reading? Hey man, listen, YT, you don't have to say things over and over and over again, bro. Like, you're spamming already. The stream started a couple minutes ago. Please don't say the same thing over and over again, and you'll be banned very quickly. Thanks for the Disney tip. Made a few bucks yesterday. Hey, congrats, man. Again, I don't really like people copying me, but I mean, people hate on me so much for being bullish on Disney, and you guys can see why I am. I mean, it just ripped up. There's a lot of crickets on the Disney haters. And again, I'm not really listen, I'm not going to go political, but I'm pretty neutral on everything, including what's going on there with them. So there's the poll we got live now. Again, do me a favor, hit the like button as you tune into this. Do you think the market drops if CPI meets expectations? I'm not sure. I think anything can ultimately happen. Like, we don't really know. Anything can happen. It could drop. It might go up. We don't really know. Yeah, it's 5 a.m. here in Texas. Again, you can kind of see the Q is up nicely today. Nvidia down big. Microsoft green. CPI is going to influence a lot of stuff. CPI day and data. Yeah, I mean, the market might be slower today. What's up, Beach Bum? Yeah, the market might be slower today. At least heading into the CPI report. I'll put a timer up as well. But yeah, today's the day, man. It's the biggest day of the month. Did we have some earnings today? Let me check it out. All right, so we had Alibaba earnings coming out in about 30 minutes, about 25 minutes exactly. We got NVO, Novo Nordisk, Ralph Lauren, RL, Yeti, Six Flags, BKKT, Altimmune, Applied Industrial Tech, and a couple other earnings releases today. But Alibaba's the biggest one that drops. It's scheduled to drop at 6:40 market time, 6:40 a.m. Yeah, typically the market is slow ahead of this. Look at our poll numbers here. So it looks like most people are selecting under 0.2%. We'll see. Again, I don't know. Again, it's the biggest day of the month, guys. Let's see what we show. But yeah, it's time, man. I'm ready. Doesn't Jerome Powell do Jackson Hole this month? Oh, he does. Late August. Please tell me this is this year. No, this is last year. Is Jerome Powell doing Jackson Hole again? He's got to be, right? All right, so it's going to be August 24th to 26th. All right, so this Jackson Hole conference coming out later this month is going to be called Structural Shifts in the Global Economy. I'm assuming Powell is going to be at the Jackson Hole conference on the 26th. Yeah, but is Powell going to be at this year's Jackson Hole? All right, look, Q guys in the SPY. Let's see. So the SPY is right here up to 448.30 or so. Gap it up today. I'm assuming Jerome Powell's got to be there. Yeah, I'm looking for Powell's confirmation that he's going to be there. All right, so yeah, it looks like Powell's going to be there this year. Yeah, so he's going to appear there. All right. I could have priced in some of the CPI data, but I'm not sure, I'm not sure how much. You never really know how much. Again, the queue is up. Disney, man, having a great earnings call. Just a great earnings call for Disney. All right, guys, we did get a little bounce, a little pop in markets overnight. Again, the real question is, does the market correct today or does it hold? Regardless of what the number shows up as, I know I know a lot of people are expecting both. Looking at our poll numbers here, 43%. Looks like mostly bullish traders that think the inflation data is going to come in under expectations at 0.2%. Baba, yeah, so Baba reports theirs. Let's see what Baba showed up as. Baba is supposed to set to release their numbers, but I'm expecting 222 EPS. Let's look at it. Here's Baba on the right. Baba up there, bouncing up at 97.50s right now. 97.50s for Alibaba. Gapped up from its earnings report. Let's see what the data showed. All right, so yeah, Baba shares are up after good earnings. They showed 183 EPS. 183 EPS. They expected to show 203, and so they came in lower than expected for EPS. Revenue came in at 32.3 billion versus 31.3 billion, so higher than expected revenue. EPS, it looks like, I guess, came in higher than expected. Adjusted EPS actually came in at 240 per share versus 202 estimate. So it looks like Alibaba actually came in slightly better than expected. There's the numbers for Alibaba at the bottom of the screen. Again, too, we do have. We're gonna put a timer up. All right. And CPI inflation data drops at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, along with jobless claims. Let me put the expectations up. Again, expectations. All right, so again, expectations are for 0.3%. Month over month. No, it's 0.2% month over month and 3.3% year over year. Again, jobless claims Expectations are for 230,000 for jobless claims. So here is basically the breakdown of CPI. So again, CPI drops at 8:30 along with jobless claims. Both are going to be streamed live on release right here. Hey, what's up, Sam? What's up, Type? Do you think that CPI data releases are having less of an impact on the market as it gets lower? A few months ago, CPI had crazy impact. These days, not so much. I mean, the last time they had the last report, I think we had a pretty decent impact. Like if we look at the Q, so the last report dropped July 12th, I believe. So the last report was released July 12th. And so like if we put up a 5-minute chart, like a longer term 5-minute chart, let me see if it'll let me see it. We'll put up a 10-minute chart, right? So every candlestick here represents a 10-minute chart. Well, here's a 15-minute chart. We're gonna have to go back a little bit further to catch it. So the last data report was it the 12th? Yeah, so I think the last report actually came out here on the 12th. So yeah, here's the last report. I believe it was on the 12th. And so again, you can kind of see like the last report did influence the market a lot. The data came in as expected. The data was released right here at 8:30. So right here at 8:30 when the data came out, and you can kind of see the big upward candle that we got from this. This is right when the last CPI data report came out. And then you can also see like following that, if we zoom out a little bit, the market had a really nice bullish move for the next like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trading days. And we're still over where the previous CPI was. And so the last time we had a pretty big release, sometimes the reaction is not like right as soon as the report comes out. Sometimes it's a little bit of a lagging reaction, but it's not any less of a reaction anyways. So, point is, last time I think CPI affected it heavily. And then tomorrow we have PPI as well. And so we do have a lot of economic stuff coming out over the next couple weeks. Again, specifically today we got CPI tomorrow, or today we have CPI and jobless claims numbers. Tomorrow we have PPI. And then I believe next week we've got a gang of economic data as well. I believe it's like PCE data, but I might be wrong. Let me check. But yeah, tomorrow PPI, CPI today, jobless claims today. Next week we got core retail sales, New York Empire State Manufacturing Index, retail sales on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday next week, we have the mortgage data, building permits, housing starts. We have the FOMC minutes report on Wednesday evening. So we got the FOMC minutes report Wednesday evening. And so that's all pretty big. Thursday, we got jobless claims in the Philly Fed Index. Yeah. And then Friday, we have European CPI data along with some other stuff. And so that's next week. Not really a slow week or anything like that. But I think the busier week is going to be after that, the following week on the 21st to the 25th, where we have existing home sales, where we have services and manufacturing PMI data. And then on Wednesday of the following week, we get core durable good orders. And I believe this is when we also get PCE data, but I don't think it's updated here on my end yet for that. And then the next day we get JOLTS, non-farm employment change. Yeah, so we get PCE data and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a big release. No, so I'll put a timer up. The CPI data drops at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll put a timer up here. So right now it's 6:30 market time. We have about 2 hours. We got 2 hours exactly right now, guys. 2 hours exactly. What would be a bullish data release? So expectations right now are 0.2% on the month, 3.3% on the year. A bullish release would be like 0% or 0.1% month over month and like 3% year over year. That would be bullish, less than expected. But you never really know. Alibaba is pumping up though. Look at Alibaba move. But yeah, you never really know like what we're gonna get, to be honest. You can only speculate on what a potential reaction might be. Again, Alibaba reported earnings today. They came in better than expected for adjusted EPS at 240 per share versus 203 expected. Revenue at 32.3 billion versus 31.3 billion expected. They're holding first quarter net cash provided by operating activities of about $6.25 billion. The Taobao app grew average daily users by about 6.5% in the first quarter. They bought back 35.6 million ADS for about 3.1 billion in the first quarter. And so, yeah, Alibaba doing well on this earnings report, doing well. No, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to go up, down, or sideways from this report. I'm definitely not saying it's going to dump. I don't know. Also, y'all do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Super helpful for the channel. All right, guys. And yeah, get some free stocks here, team. All right, guys. It's time. Again, put your expectations out in chat. What do you guys think these are going to show up as? Pump or dump, who cares? I don't really know what we're gonna get. I'll try to guess a little bit later. I guess like if I had to pick a result here, and again I'm gonna preface this with I have no idea if I'm right or wrong. I could be wildly wrong and might be wildly wrong about this. Nobody really knows what the data is going to come in as. We can only really guess. And anybody, again, I'll say this once and I'll say it again. The people who are the most sure about what the number is going to be typically know the least, because most reasonable people in this situation understand that like nobody freaking knows right here. Nobody knows if we're going to get good results, bad results, high results, low results. We can only guess, and people can only have their bias essentially by hoping it goes up or hoping it goes down or whatever. But yeah, nobody really knows here. We can only sit back and wait. Yeah, well, dollar strength means market weakness. You know, typically, market weakness means the dollar goes up and vice versa. Usually, not always, but typically, if the dollar goes down, the market goes up. If the dollar goes up, the market goes down. Yeah, Jack. But again, you're basically bearish. That's what you're saying is you're basically bearish, and I understand, but nobody knows, man. Maybe we go down, but we might also go up. And again, to understand my part of this, and I hope you guys can look at what I'm about to say objectively here. But to understand my piece, I cover all these reports. I cover them every month, and I have for years. And so with that, uh every major report, you get a lot of people that are just so sure we're going to get a bearish response. They're just so sure we're going to get bearish action. They're so sure the market's going to dump or tank or whatever it is, and then they push the chat, and sometimes they even pressure the chat to sell or short or whatever it is. And then half the time the market just rips up in their face, right? And they're just kind of sit there. They usually just never say anything again. They don't say anything. They just kind of crickets all of a sudden. And so yeah, again, we can give out our own bias, and that's fine. Just don't pressure anybody to the chat to do anything. Don't pressure people to sell. Don't act. Nobody here should act like they know definitively what the numbers are going to be. And we always have to understand that nobody really knows. We can only speculate. What is the difference between CPI month over month and year over year? Well, exactly how it sounds. One is the inflationary increase for consumers on the month, and one is the inflationary increase for consumers on the year. Yeah, what's up, counterparty? Yeah, I mean, listen, I put Jack in timeout because I literally was just like, "Hey, don't pressure anybody to do anything." And the first thing he says is sell your stocks. Again, my guess is this is another one of those guys that we could have banned already a couple times before, pushing a bearish agenda, most likely in mortgages. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Well, no, one's just the month over month reading. I would say with CPI, a lot of people look at the year, but a lot of people look at the month as well. And so we really don't know whether, we don't know what it's going to show up as, to be honest. If you want to feel better about your investing, go to Adam Aaron's posts and then read the comments section. You know? No, not you, type Jack. The other Jack Galloway. Yeah, my only rule, and I think it's a very reasonable rule, is like don't pressure people to do anything. Don't tell people to sell. Don't tell people to buy. Don't pressure people like you know some insider information. Again, typically the people that are the most definitive and the most pressuring know the least and are the most emotional about their own positions. Again, maybe the market does fall, but nobody here knows, especially none of you guys in the comment section. You know? Yeah, there's no options though, Brooks. Or there might be futures options, I don't know, but I'm talking about futures contracts is not an option. So futures contracts are not options. Future contracts are and so again, what futures are is that, so back in the day, this was like a long time ago, farmers would grow crops, right? So farmers, this is how it started. Farmers would grow crops, but a lot of the time they would spend all their time and energy growing these crops, and when it came time to yield, the prices had fluctuated so much on the commodities that they were growing that it wasn't as profitable of a business as they wanted it to be. And so what they started doing was they started selling something called futures contracts that locked in the future price of their commodities that they were growing. And so basically that way they could sell futures contracts to speculative investors who would speculate on the future price of corn or soybeans or whatever it is, and they would call them futures contracts because again they were betting on the future price of a commodity. It was a win-win for both of them. The farmers would know what they were going to be able to sell their crops for when it came time to yield those crops, and the speculative investors got a new investment vehicle to use, right? Well, eventually over time that niche grew, and that niche present day encompasses a lot of different things. Like for instance, the futures market, I can day trade the S&P 500, like essentially the SPY in futures, no PDT restrictions. I can day trade short, buy market, buy bid, sell the ask. It's essentially the S&P 500 and it's priced the same. And so if you look at the E-mini, which is /ES or ES, is right around $4,500, exactly where the S&P 500 is. But again, there's no PDT rule. And so like that's the real benefit for futures. And again, I'm sponsored by Top Step. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm not trying to do a plug right now for them. I just wanted to explain futures. But again, I guess if you want to check out Top Step, the link is in the description. But I'm not really trying to do a plug for them. It's too early. I usually wait at least an hour before I do any plugs for sponsors. So. Hey, what's up, Ricky? Hey, good luck, Randy. Yeah, so futures expire the contract for them expires quarterly. So every 4 months, you're going to have a rollover of the contract to the most liquid one. Like right now, the one I've been trading is ESU3 is the contract for futures. It's the E-mini. It's the S&P 500 contract. It's called the ESU3. Eventually, that's going to roll over to the next one whenever this quarter ends. So you have to roll it over each quarter. But aside from, so basically, yes, you have to roll it over. But it's not a conventional like expiry because futures aren't traded like options. Like there's no Greeks, there's no super restrictive things with them. You just got to roll over the contract every quarter. Yeah, no worries, Brooks. But yeah, that's futures. Like that's what the futures market is. But again, now it encompasses everything. You can day trade the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, currencies. A lot of Forex traders should be trading futures, gold, silver, cattle prices, corn, soybean, like whatever you want to trade. You can trade it in futures for the most part, except for individual stocks, right? That's the one thing you can't trade in futures is individual stocks. Yeah, I'll good tip. All right, guys. Hey, hit that like button, guys. Hit that subscribe button. We got a couple hundred people here already, and it's only 6:45 market time. It's only about 5:45 my time. So, hey. All right, guys. And again, remember, today, remember, man, today's a big day. Also, guys, you can get up to 16 free stocks on Moomoo if you open up an account and deposit. I'm going to pin this to the page. So if anybody wants some free stocks, the stock platform I'm using is called Moomoo. It's zero commission. It's open from 4 a.m. plus in pre-market and after hours. And so just really useful because Toss never let me trade that early. And you can get up to 16 free shares. I think it's if you deposit $100, you get 5 free stocks. If you open up an account and deposit $100, if you open and deposit over 1,000, you get 15 free stocks. You open up and deposit over 5K, you get the previous 15 plus a free share of Google or Tesla. And so in that regard, just very useful. Yeah, so again, 8:30, guys. We got about an hour and 45 minutes left. An hour and 45 minutes left. One thing that I'm seeing right now is Nvidia starting to turn. Look at Nvidia up here, guys. Nvidia's starting to run. It's at 425.75 for Nvidia. 425.75. A pretty big push up here. Yeah, you can trade futures at 4 a.m., but you can trade futures 24/7, Paul. You know, typically, like you could trade futures 24/7. And so it's not really a big flex for Toss to let you trade futures at 4 a.m. because you're supposed to be able to trade them 24/7, unless you're on Top Step, which Top Step's a funded program, so you got to close your positions out every day because it's a day trading combine. But yeah, my point is, like, on Toss, you can't trade stocks super early. You got to wait until 7. And again, I know this because my Toss account's got about 30K in it, and I can't trade stocks until 7 a.m., which sucks. But yeah, look at Nvidia. So Nvidia broke down, some finally just started to go green, starting to bounce back up a little bit here, trying to go back up. Yeah, Disney's up big, man. And again, Disney is one of those stocks, bro, where, like, listen, I'm not saying, like, I agree or disagree with any of the stuff about Disney, but Disney's obviously healthy, man. It's obviously diversified. It obviously makes a lot of money, and it's obviously one of the healthier companies in the world, despite what people want to happen to it. So, like, when you think about Disney, it's diversified. It owns Star Wars, Marvel, ESPN, which had a big deal yesterday. Like they're growing incredibly quickly, and regardless of fundamentals, the technicals on Disney are really profitable for me. Like Disney is probably the stock that I have been the most consistent in terms of making money from it over the past year or two. It's probably the most consistent stock I trade. And what I typically do with Disney is I wait for a big emotional pullback. I have my buy zone and my sell zone. My buy zone is usually when it dips around $85. $85 to $90 is usually where I buy up Disney. Sometimes it's at 85. Again, my current position's at 86.30s. Previous position before this was at like 85.11s. And again, typically I wait for it to pull back to 85s, low 90s, 85s, and I buy that dip and I ride it back up to the high 90s or the hundreds, and I sell, and then I rinse, repeat. The next time it dips back down to 85, 90, I buy a little bit more, and then I sell it again on the rip, and I do that over and over and over again, and it allows me to stay pretty consistent in terms of income trading. And again, I can't guarantee you're going to make money doing this. Nobody can. I'm not saying you're going to make money doing this. Anything could ultimately happen. Disney could break down today. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that Disney is one of those stocks that I'm okay when it gets cheap. I'm okay with buying shares and sitting, because typically in terms of the price action with Disney, it will usually bounce back. If you look at a yearly chart, for instance, every time it dips down to $85 or so, it usually has a pretty nice rebound. Back in January for Disney, it was all the way down at $84. It rebounded all the way back to $120. And I made money on that trade as well. And so typically Disney holds its gains, and typically Disney's dips are really profitable to buy. But again, nobody knows for sure. And it's crazy because I'm doing this on a down year. Disney's down in the year. It opened up the year at 112.50s. So I'm doing this when Disney's down on the year. So it kind of goes to show that might be a good move in terms of money making. But again, I'm not sure. No, I don't usually ever trade small caps. They're too volatile, risky, and I just have a large enough account to where I don't really need to trade penny stocks. Um, I think most people trading penny stocks are doing so because their account is small. But like once, and I used to trade penny stocks, but once my accounts grew and now I've got multiple 30K accounts with like, I got 6 figures in buying power. I just don't need to trade penny stocks anymore. It's just not something I have to do. The patterns are ultimately less consistent. It's harder to find consistent volatility in penny stocks. They can get halted and diluted on you in pre-market, and just a lot of sketchy stuff can go on. And so for most, like, there's a reason big money doesn't typically trade penny stocks. Like, you want to know what's actually profitable in stocks, look at what big money does. And there's a reason they don't trade penny stocks most of the time. I'm not saying there's not outliers that don't trade pennies, but most big money doesn't, and there's a reason for that. Regardless of what anybody says, what any guru selling me a course says, big money typically doesn't trade pennies. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's such a subjective argument. Like, listen, anybody could say, hey, Disney's not up that much. Disney went from the lows yesterday at 84.60s. All right, the lows yesterday at 84.60s to $93 a share. And so if you want to do some math, regardless of where it is now, right, it went from 84.60s to 93 bucks a share, basically. And so again, that's basically 7 to 8% or more. That's probably a little bit more than that. It's probably that's about 9-10% gain yesterday alone. Now, sure, if you calculate it from it's always easy to twist numbers to make it seem less impressive, But again, we're up on Disney. We already took profit when it was at the 92s and 93s, and we're holding a little piece of it left. And so, whatever it does from now on, we're all going to be fine with, because we're already up a lot. No, I don't think low 6 figures of buying power is big. I don't think that is at all. I think, like, realistically, like, big boy accounts, like, typically big funds and big traders typically have like $1 million accounts, and that's not me. I'm not even claiming to do that. The point I was trying to make is not bragging about my account size. The point I was trying to make is that my accounts are large enough that I don't need to trade penny stocks. Like, my accounts are large enough to where I don't need to trade penny stocks. Oh yeah, hedge funds do for sure, but I'm talking about retail trader accounts. Yeah, but I think sometimes that can be kind of like, that can be really gambling in nature, Alan. I know a lot of traders are kind of addicted to the rush, and I'm not saying this is you, so please don't take this as like a personal attack. But I think a lot of traders in penny stocks are just kind of addicted to the rush of trading pennies. I think if they weren't trading penny stocks, they'd be at the casino, and I think that breeds losses. Nice. AMC guys, man, what is AMC gonna do? What's crazy is, like, you look at all right, so CPI inflation data drops at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. All right, so I get inflation data today, man. This is what a big day. All right, guys. So again, CPI inflation data drops today at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Does it come in higher, lower, as expected? Higher, lower, as expected are going to be the polls. All right, so yeah, we got a minute and a half left, guys. A minute and a half, or an hour and a half left. I'm sorry, hour and a half. Again, do me a favor, guys. Bump that like button. I'd love to break over 100 likes before 7 a.m. I'd love to hit that. Disney started to move back up some more too. All right, so we got our poll set as well here, team. So we do have our poll set. Again, if you want to vote on this poll, again, let me know what you guys think here. Wait, what? Again, here's the link. Check it out. Great way to help support your boy here in this channel. I don't know. I'm going to go with higher than expected slightly, but I'm not sure. Why do you think you get so many bears here on your live? It's like a bear cave. I think, to be honest, if I'm being completely honest, there's been some, for lack of a better word, there's been some suspicious things. I think a lot of them are the same person. I think a lot of them are the same person, just creating fake accounts. I think to a certain extent what's going on. I think I'm not saying there's not some other people that are bearish. I think there's a lot of bears here, and that's okay. I mean, it's okay to be bearish. I mean, to be honest on this one, I might be a little bit bearish. But I think, I don't know. I think a lot of people are really worried about what other people are saying on the chat. And so I think some of them are creating fake accounts and kind of talking to themselves. I know for a fact that some people, a specific person has been doing that over the last week, where they're like creating fake accounts to agree with themselves. And then they're logging back into another account and saying, yeah, that's true. And they're just kind of doing that over. I don't know why somebody would be driven to do that. Again, it seems a little crazy. But I'm sure that's what's going on to a certain extent also. Is the Permabull channel? Because they aren't traders. Last time you were spot on. I know I got it exactly right last time. Again, I'd love to take credit. Pure luck. 100% luck. You know, just straight up luck. That's weird, bro. You don't even understand, dude. Like, it's weirder than you think, bro. It's weirder than you think, where I got people that I know that, like, my son is friends with their son, acting weird, dude. They're just freaking acting weird, man. They're acting weird. Like, they're getting weird. They're so emotional about everything. And it's just kind of like, damn, dude. Like, this is why you can't have nice things, bro. Anytime you have nice things, people get weird, you know. Like, that's the really what's going on. Anytime you have nice things, people get weird. What is your question? Somebody said, answer my question, please. Bro, I short ETH before one day. What do you think I need to hold, or what kindly tell? I have no idea what you should do with ETH, brother. Hey, what's up, Irene? Watching from the Philippines. Thank you so much. I have no idea what you should do about ETH. No idea, truly. No idea. All right, guys, we got an hour and a half left. Hour and a half. Yeah. again, I think what's really going on is like you got a lot of mortgage guys that are emotional because mortgages have gone up so much in terms of interest rates that businesses slow down. And I think when that happens, people get jealous and insecure. If their business is struggling and they see me doing well, I think they get jealous and insecure. And I think that's human nature to a certain extent. But like, again, I'll tell everybody this, like, I don't want to be friends with anybody that doesn't celebrate my wins with me. Like, if you're not celebrating my wins with me and you're deep down like bitter or mad or insecure about me winning, I'm not going to be your friend. I'm not going to talk to you, you know? At least I'll try my best not to talk to you. Again, Nvidia back up over 425s. I think the real question for microchips is, do we bounce after this big pullback? Like, do we bounce after this big pullback? All right, so Disney showed that streaming is shifting. Investors were cheering Disney results. It won't cost as much to subscribe to Disney Plus as it does for Netflix or Discovery Max. Disney's move says a lot about the state of streaming, according to Barron's. And again, we're kind of reading this article. And again, we're quoting here. It says, quote, "In the beginning, the battle was for eyeballs and the metric was subscriber growth. For that, original exclusive content was needed. Disney went big on Star Wars. Apple created Ted Lasso. Way back in 2020, before the pandemic, actor Ricky Gervais joked, 'Nobody's going to theaters. They're all watching Netflix.' Now, all the streaming services are bumping their prices up, putting in advertisements and cracking down on password sharing. The reason they're doing this, they're doing this to increase revenue from streaming. It's on making streaming more profitable rather than making more shows for viewers. And so I think a lot of streaming has shifted from trying to bring in subscribers to helping their margins, is what this report says. And so we'll see how inflation affects all of this too. Very true about people being weird when you have nice stuff. Yeah, man. Again, you'd be surprised like how many people truly don't celebrate your wins. Like, even like some family, like, they're not celebrating wins. Like, most of the time they're mad, you know. And like, it is what it is, but that's the reality. Bitcoin will pump, yeah, when the market goes positive. Again, we got about an hour and 23 minutes here left, or an hour and 28 minutes. I mean, Disney still trying to make it back over $89. Yeah, weird bots, man, just weird bots, dude. People are weird about money in the stock market. Yeah, people are usually like just kind of out there. Yeah. Again, 230 expected for jobless claims. The other release today that we get is jobless claims numbers. So the other release today is jobless claims. And that'll be fun too. That'll be interesting as well. Core data is relevant. Core data is relevant. Like, core data is excluding food and energy, right? So like, I disagree with looking at core. I think core data is important because you got to look at all the different movements of it, but I don't think it's the most important one because food and energy are some of our largest purchases, right? So putting in a metric that excludes food and energy, I mean, it's cool and all, but like, It just doesn't seem like the right move. It looks like it's better to pay attention to the broad consumer price index, not just core data. But again, maybe I'm wrong, and let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think core is more important? And if you do, explain why you think that. It's all good, regardless of whether we agree or disagree there. You ever notice the trolls show up right after I talk about mortgages? Every time. I shouldn't even tell them, but like, suspect. Again, Disney at $89 a share, 89 bucks a share. Yeah, and again, guys, I mean, let me put some things into perspective here. Anybody come into the room acting like I'm some day trading guru? Y'all are in the wrong room for that, man. Y'all go follow a day trading guru. Again, I'm not trying to be a day trading guru. I'm not claiming to be super profitable. My channel is called Beginner Trading, guys. It's called Beginner Trading. The reason it's called that is because I don't want to be a day trading guru. I don't sell a course. I don't have paywalls behind any of my content. I don't even claim to be a good trader. I mean, I'm definitely top 3 greatest trader of all time, but like, that's a different story. But like, we're an economic channel. We cover the stock market and broad economics. Getting mad at me because I don't day trade, perfectly, it's just, that's fine. I mean, let it out. It's okay. But like, we're really an economics channel here. I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like, we day trade, sure. And like, I make money day trading most of the time. But yeah, most of the time we're just covering economics and inflation data and Jerome Powell press conferences and CPI. And tomorrow we got PPI. Again, today we have jobless claims numbers. So like yesterday we had Disney earnings, and Disney's up a lot on it. And then today we have CPI inflation data, which is, again, the consumer price index. It's a gauge on how much inflation has risen for consumers. Yeah. Band Rush, probably. Yeah. Definitely top 3 not gurus in the world. Yeah. The core is important as the non-core items move too variably. Core gives a better understanding of inflation. I don't know, man. I think we have to look at gas prices, though. I think gas prices, especially gas and food, are incredibly relevant to spending and price increases. And so I think we have to look at those as well. I think we should look at core, and we're definitely going to look at core here. But I think that we have to look at regular CPI, which includes food and energy. I think those are some of our largest purchases, and they're all very relevant to like what's going on economic wise, So it's from this company, Jeremy. So jobless claims numbers are basically how many people are filing for unemployment benefits. So it's kind of another way of looking at unemployment, except it drops weekly. So jobless claims drops once a week. Again, Disney back up to 89s. Well, again, I'm kind of watching Nvidia pretty closely here. We did have Alibaba release their earnings. So here's Alibaba. But yeah, honestly, one of the things I always wanted, like, I didn't want to be a day trading guru. I really didn't. Like, there's enough day trading gurus out there. My better trades are my swing trades, in my opinion. Like, I'm probably a better swing trader than I am a day trader. I'm not saying I'm a bad day trader, but it's like, if you look at what we stream, we're not streaming like day trading the open. We day trade, but like, it's certainly not the only aspect. Like, we are mostly economic channel. Like yesterday we streamed Disney earnings. Today we're covering CPI inflation data. Tomorrow we cover PPI data. Later on in the month we'll cover Jerome Powell's Jackson Hole Symposium conference, right? Like, this is economics here. Should change the name to Beginner Economics. Like, we trade and we, but we're mostly like stock market news. I don't want to be a day trading guru. That comes with too much pressure. again, like the problem with day trading gurus is they end up a lot of the time having to fudge their numbers to look more profitable than they are, because they're selling courses to people, right? So if you're selling a course and people are paying hundreds of dollars for your course, and then you have a string of losing days, you know, it might be tempting to just go hard and gamble and try to win back that money. I don't want that pressure. I would rather just tell people, yo, I'm not an expert, you know? And so, and I think people appreciate that more than anything. What is your prediction for CPI today? Yeah, non-farm payrolls, Jeremy. All of these drop once a month. So again, I cover all of this stuff. Like, speaking of the economic data we drop monthly, there's a string of different economic data we drop every month, right? We drop unemployment, non-farm payrolls, PCE, which is the personal consumption expenditure, which is really the Fed's preferred inflationary gauge. Is called the PCE, the personal consumption expenditure. That dropped a couple weeks ago. All of this drops once a month. So you get unemployment, non-farm payrolls, the non-farm employment change, retail sales, PCE data, PPI, CPI, the FOMC rate hike decision every 6 weeks. Jobless claims drop weekly. And then you got a string of PMI datas that drop, whether it's manufacturing, PMI, non-manufacturing and services PMI. Those drop once a month as well. All right, Disney's still pushing up a little bit, almost up to $90 a share. The Q is up to 370.40s here, 370.40s. Again, Alibaba had a really good earnings report. They did better than expected. They showed up at about $2.40 for the adjusted EPS value, and much higher than expected revenue for Alibaba. So that's really nice for them. They did really well there. And then again, you can kind of see, we're looking at the SPY now. SPY at about 448.20 is a nice upward move. Yeah, Sam. Sam said, I wonder how Wall Street Bully is feeling this morning. He was so bearish on Disney and put options. Yeah, 100%. It's really what I try to tell people. It's like, I see them all the time, like, especially with stocks like Disney, where people just join the Disney live stream and they're like, oh, Disney's going to crash, guys. Sell. Disney's going to crash, or whatever they say, right? And they're making fun of other people who are bullish and like all this different stuff. And then Disney's earnings come out, and their earnings call shoots it up like 10% to $93 a share. And then it's just kind of crickets. It's like cricket. And it's like the people who are the most confident about their direction all of a sudden go silent, you know? And it's like, well, that's kind of how it goes. Again, it certainly confirms how I am, which is that the people who are the most definitive in terms of predictions and direction are usually know the least. And that's very true, especially with earnings. Nobody knows what a company is going to report as in earnings unless you're insiders in the company. Nobody else knows. And so taking a huge option trade ahead of that is usually just a gamble. Like, they're addicted to that rush more so than they're using trading. I think Palantir is AI related, right? So Palantir is all hyped up on AI. I think Mumu actually gave me a Palantir share. I think it was Palantir. I'll have to go back and look. But Mumu gave me, I think it was a free share of Palantir as well for one of my free stocks there. Most of the time you never see them again dramatic. They usually create another account and act like they're somebody completely new, I heard Palantir was working with the U.S. government a while back. I feel that makes them untrustworthy. Maybe. I think they're AI related, though, so I think... Oh, no, Palantir's at $15, man. I was looking at C3. I'm dumb. Yeah, Palantir's at $15. Plug Power dropped earnings yesterday, so for PLUG... they dropped earnings yesterday. They're down big. They're down from like 11s. I'm not really feeling this song. There we go. That's better. The market will do what the market will do. Yeah, for sure. again, the only real advice I can give you is like, don't be so sure about anything. Like, nobody freaking knows if we're gonna have good bad earnings, or good bad earnings, good bad CPI, good bad data. Nobody freaking knows. And again, the people who are the most confident usually know the least. And so just understand that, like, one of the universal characteristics of a good trader is they're objective. They're less biased. They're not getting mad if other people don't have their same view. They're not pressuring people to do anything because they're confident in their own trade ideas. You know what I mean? And so that's the biggest thing I hope people understand. It's like, just don't pressure people. It's not helpful. It just ends up hurting them. All right, Nvidia dipping down a little bit back, but it's still technically green on the day. Yeah. All right, guys. CPI day. I got my LSU mug, my LSU coffee mug. Yeah, Baba might hit 100. We'll see. I got my LSU coffee mug. It's trying. SPY up to 448.30s. Nvidia up. No, I'm not really a big soccer fan. I just can't get into soccer. It's too boring to watch. There's not enough action in soccer. Like, I get it. Some people are like, oh, there's so much action, bro. Like, listen, watching something that lasts for hours and hours, that they might score 2 times the whole time, and they're mostly just running back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. While I can appreciate and respect the amount of cardio that takes and the amount of skill that it takes to be a good soccer or football player, it's just not what I want to watch. It's boring, for lack of a better word. It's just not exciting. No action. They might score twice in 3 hours. You're basically just watching them go back and forth, back and forth. At a certain point, but I understand it because, like, okay, baseball and the UFC are similar in that, like, I think it's better. Like, one of the things I've always said about watching baseball is that I think baseball is good for your, like, attention span. I think it's good for conditioning your dopamine releases and attention spans. And I'll explain my theory here, which is that people typically, especially with the rise of, like, short form media content, like shorts, TikTok, all that stuff, with the rise of all that stuff, people's attention spans are dwindling down, right? So people want constant action. I think stuff like baseball kind of refreshes that dopamine system to where most of the time it's boring. And so you're watching something that's boring most of the time with small slivers of excitement. Like, most of the game it's boring, and then it all kind of builds up to be an exciting end or an exciting finish or whatever it is. And I think that's good. I don't think we're supposed to watch super exciting stuff all the time. I think that's bad for our dopamine systems. And I think, again, I think the rise of, like, short form content has made that worse. How about that? How about that Tucker? How about that Tucker grand slam home run in the 9th inning a day or 2 ago? Whew, what a game! Yeah, 90 minutes is still a long time to watch. All right, again, markets are up slightly today. Not the biggest green day, but markets are up a little bit. Bitcoin, where's Bitcoin at? So Bitcoin's still right under 30K. Right under 30K. Here's a 5-minute chart. Again, here's a 5-minute chart of the cube. We're slightly green on the day. You can see the previous close was right around this level here. I'll put a line up so we can actually see it. But here's the previous closing price right around here. And so we got a nice little gap up today. There's the SPY on the right. It's at 448.20s. I think the SPY is baseball. Or the SPY is soccer. The NASDAQ is football. American football. Or a heavyweight UFC fight. Yeah, the Dominicans, they run stuff in baseball for sure. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What's up, Chris? Yeah, what's up, Hustle? Thanks, man. And again, we covered this data very quickly. There's a reason we get thousands of people here for this release, is because we cover it fast, guys. So if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate the love and support, and let's keep the growth up here. Hopefully we get some good movement today. Again, CPI day is pretty big. I'm going to enjoy the day off after this, though. Again, Jackson Hole Symposium Conference, followed by, like, I think the busiest week for the market after this week is going to be the week of the 21st, where Monday the 21st starts. That week, we get a lot of stuff dropping. We get Nvidia earnings. We get Jackson Hole Symposium, which I believe the Jackson Hole. When is the Jackson Hole Symposium? Please don't be on a weekend. August 24th to the 26th. Bro, the 26th is a Saturday, though, bro. Where's the schedule? All right, so again, the Jackson Hole Symposium starts on Thursday, the week after. So yeah, that week we're going to have the Jackson Hole Symposium, Nvidia earnings, and a string of economic data. So again, that week, so the week of the 21st, which I think is going to be the busiest week of the month, we're going to have PMI data, Nvidia earnings, durable good orders, and jobless claims. I think we have GDP data too that week. I'll have to go look and check. I don't think they updated it yet, but let me look on Moomoo. The reason Moomoo is useful, guys, is because I can look up this stuff. Let me check Moomoo here. So again, here's Moomoo economic data. We're going to put North America 3-star data here, and then we're going to select that week, which is the 21st. All right, we got existing home sales, PMI, core durable goods. And this is actually really useful because what this allows me to do is see only the major releases. And so again, GDP data actually drops on the 30th. So I guess the GDP data drops the week after that. And then we get the Fed rate hike decision September 3rd, September 20th. Core retail sales data for Canada. And I think we also have US data. When's the next PCE report? I'll have to go check that. But again, this is Moomoo. Again, Moomoo's got a lot of other cool stuff to offer here. If you go to Explore, you can kind of look at what's moving. Here's a scanner I built. And again, this scanner, I'm looking at Pepsi. Is the one in the scanner I'm looking at. Because Pepsi's got a relatively low PE ratio. They're around their 20-day low. So these are stocks that have a market cap over 100 billion with a PE ratio less than 40 around their 20-day low. So these are large cap stocks that are around their 20-day low that have a PE ratio under 40. So it's kind of a swing trade scanner. And again, I can see like the PE ratios here. I want to see Pepsi's PE ratio is about 26 or 28 or 30. So not bad. And again, this is a Moomoo platform. Really useful as a platform. Again, zero commission stock trades. It's open the entire time in pre-market. I can get news. I can use their economic calendar like you can see me here. I can also do earnings and see like Alibaba earnings this morning and a couple other ones. Again, free unusual option activity and options, hot strategy. So I can see like head and shoulders and stuff, markets. We can look at pre-market today and see what's moving in pre-market or CPRI, TWOA, PPYA, and EDBL is up. These are all up pretty big percentages here. And so you can again see that on this as well. And their paperfolio section is pretty cool. Again, I'm watching this guy who is only up about 4.56% on the day, but still doing pretty good. On the month, this guy's up 200+%. This guy's up 50%. You can kind of see what they're holding. And I'm going to follow this guy as well. So you can follow these guys if you want to mimic their portfolio. And again, there's a platform called Moomoo. Again, they are sponsored, but if you open up an account and deposit $100, you get 5 free stocks. You open up an account and deposit over 1,000, you get 15 free stocks. I think I got Palantir for one of mine as well. You open up an account and deposit over 5K, you get the previous 15 plus a share of Google or Tesla, and I got Tesla, and so I'm super pumped about that as well. But yeah, if you want to check it out, here is the link. They are a sponsor of mine. Great way to help support the channel. A bunch of people here already, guys. Got about 500 people already here. We still got over an hour before this report comes out. So again, we'll see if we get anything good today. I'm ready, guys. I'm ready. Let me know what you guys. Oh no! What the heck? No. Sheesh, man. I accidentally clicked market buy on Nvidia for 50 shares. Luckily, the TIF was for day and not EXT, or I would have gotten filled with 50 shares of Nvidia, which is actually a pretty big size there. I almost accidentally bought 50 shares of Nvidia. No, Nvidia CPI is coming out in about an hour and 4 minutes. I don't know if we're going to get a pump or dump ahead of CPI. Nobody really knows. We could, but nobody knows. I don't know what that is, Harry. But it just doesn't look good to trade to me. You get Nvidia at 426, 426. All right, guys. Hey, I'm ready. CPI data today, man. Probably the biggest stream of the week or the month. I mean, listen, guys. Yeah, I mean, Jack, okay. People coming out and saying the same thing, phrased slightly differently, but basically saying the same thing within a couple minutes of each other just means that whoever it is probably logging into a fake account, posting that, logging out of that account, logging into a different account, and then posting that again. Like, that's pretty likely what's going on. I mean, I'm sure right now I'm gonna get, oh no, we're not doing that. But like, come on now, man. Why? Who cares? Who cares if people agree with you, man? Like, why does it matter that much? Hey, yeah, hit that like button, guys. We appreciate the love. Thank you so much. People are weird, bro. Is what I've learned. People are strange. Look at the SPY dip. So SPY dipping down to 447.80s. Yeah, people are odd, dude. This is the best way to put it. I've been trading for about 7 years. I think it's either 30 or 60 days, Jay. which is pretty standard for all the accounts or for all the different places that do it. It's about 30 to 60 days, I think. But I would reach out to them and check. Yeah, and I think I think people who don't understand social media might think that that's kind of how you do things, where you're just kind of creating fake accounts and sending fake accounts and using fake accounts and whatever. But again, that's not really how you grow on social media. That's not really what anybody that actually does it is going to do, you know. All right, so the Nasdaq's still trending down here. All right, so we're up a little bit in this futures trade. We're gonna go ahead and cut it. So we just made about $40, maybe a little bit less, shorting the Nasdaq. We might jump back in it, but yeah, no worries, Jay. How CPI data affects markets? Well, higher is worse, lower is better for CPI data. So like a higher CPI report is worse, a lower CPI report is better. This is a consumer price index inflation data. Biggest lesson from the 2008 crash. My biggest lesson from that is the banks are greedy, and there's a couple lessons. One of them is that the banks are greedy. The other lesson there is that the people who lose the most in crashes are people who get emotional and sell. You know, the people that lose the most in those events are people who get emotional and sell. You know, now I'm not saying that's universal for everybody. Like, there's some people who should sell. It depends. Like, if you're retiring imminently and you need the money within the next few years and the market crashes, sure, that might be an argument for selling. You know, and again, I'm not disagreeing with that. If you need the money imminently and you know, you're retiring very soon and you need that money, sure, sell, lock in whatever it is. But if you've got, you know, if you're planning on holding those positions long term, again, the biggest losers in those markets are people who get emotional and sell during crashes. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons of not just 2008, but every major market crash in history. Typically, we're back up within 3 to 5 years. Most of the time, less than that. But typically, within 3 to 5 years, the markets are right back. We already have the countdown clock. It's right here. I'm trading a little bit. I mean, we already traded some. Again, gambling on CPI data is risky, so just be careful. Like, I usually don't hold anything through CPI because, again, that's a risk. It's a gamble. And so we might trade a little bit now leading up to it, but we're going to stop trading as we get close to it and then maybe react to it. It's really something where for these CPI reports, nobody knows what we're going to get. I've gotten really lucky and guessed it right a couple different times, but nobody knows what we're going to get for CPI. And so I think for CPI and other economic releases, you have to get into like a reactionary mindset. Instead of trying to gamble big and taking huge positions ahead of CPI and basically trying to bet on an outcome, which is, again, almost no edge doing that. It's just a guess. It's a gamble. It's better to wait for the numbers to show up and then react to it and then take a position maybe based off of the trend that happens after the numbers drop. And I think that arguably, and again, it's subjective. I can't guarantee anything. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows if that will work either. But I think the edge in something like that, in my personal subjective opinion, is going to be better than like buying huge option contracts ahead of this report, you know? Yeah, maybe it shoots up. Again, earnings on the 23rd are relevant. I mean, we have had a lot of, again, one of the big fears ahead of this, one of the big fears leading up to this current earnings season, like the earnings season we're in now, is will AI stocks hold? Because AI stocks were on a crazy run. And the PE ratios for some of these AI stocks were really, really high. Like Nvidia is over 100, AMD is pretty high too. The PE ratios are sky high for a lot of these companies. And so the big speculation with this current earnings season is, will these stocks hold? Like, will the earnings justify the gains? And to be honest, a lot of them have. Like, we've still pulled back some, but a lot of these AI stocks did have a huge increase in revenue. Did have, like, Microsoft posted the most revenue it's ever posted last quarter. I think. I might be wrong. But the point is, like, these AI stocks have had some AI has had some influence to these companies on their monetary bottom line. that, it's interesting to watch. And with Nvidia earnings coming up, that's probably the most important AI stock right now is Nvidia. Again, Nvidia currently sitting, if we look at it, Nvidia currently sitting at about 425s. It's slightly red in pre-market, I think. It's pretty much flat actually, but around 425s, 426. The PE ratio for something like AMD right now. Let's take a look. And again, this is one of the reasons I like Mumu. All right, so here's Nvidia. Again, I want to look at their PE ratio, and again, I'm using Mumu. All right, so the PE ratio on Nvidia currently is 221, which is incredibly, incredibly high. You can also see some of the short data here. You can see the earnings dropping. And again, this is Mumu. You can check out Mumu in the description. But yeah, PE ratio right now is 244, which is sky high right now. That's crazy high. Again, so that's the only risk leading into Nvidia earnings is that Nvidia earnings, they got to do something special for numbers. And again, if we look at Nvidia in terms of like what they're ultimately expecting, Nvidia is expecting $2.06 EPS on 10.89 billion in revenue. And if we look at Nvidia's EPS graph, if we take a look at Nvidia's EPS graph, again, they're expecting the highest EPS they've ever shown, right? So if Nvidia hits their expected numbers, that will be the highest EPS number that Nvidia's ever shown stock wise. Again, they're expecting $2.06, which again, if you look at this, is way up here. And so on a monetary level, Nvidia is expecting their greatest profit quarter ever. Their greatest profit quarter ever. We'll see if we hit it. Again, the last greatest one was 118. They're expecting almost double that at 206. And so again, to put it in perspective, Nvidia is expecting a lot from their next earnings report. And so maybe they will justify that PE ratio. Let's see if the Q holds the 200 EMA. So the Q is just the NASDAQ. Let's see if it holds that 200 EMA. And again, here's their revenue. So let's take a look at their revenue for Nvidia. Again, their previous revenue is 7.19. So again, they're expecting their highest revenue quarter ever as well. So Nvidia expecting their highest revenue quarter also. And so very interesting. They're expecting almost 11 billion in revenue, which is way higher. Their previous highest one was 8 something. And so they're basically expecting this right there. That's a big expectation. Again, let me know if you guys think they'll hit it. It's all relevant for the market, regardless of Nvidia. It's all relevant for the market. And again, CPI data drops at 8:30 Eastern Standard. I have one SPY call. I don't mind gambling a little bit on CPI with a small amount. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, a calculated risk. All right, David, I don't know what you're asking. Nobody's sending you Bitcoin, man. I'm not sure if you're asking people to send you Bitcoin. If you are, I'm going to ban you because you're probably either a bot or just a scammer. Nightbot is just a bot. It's possible as underlying stock and demand for chips has gone up. Yeah, I mean, and again, I think we see chips influencing these things on a monetary level very, very high. Like they're influencing stuff a lot on a monetary level. All right, so again, here's some stats here. So the S&P has gone down in 6 of the last 7 trading days. So the S&P has had losing days in 6 out of the last 7. Again, will inflation data help the market or hurt the market today? Again, I'm seeing some quotes here. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I don't think he speaks good English, but I think he's asking for money, which you're never going to get. Nobody's going to send you money here. I'm definitely not. Like, my guess is they go from stream to stream just begging for money, and maybe they get it from some people who are dumb, but I'm not sending you guys money. Get out of here. What do you think about the Fitch downgrade? I don't know. I think the Fitch downgrade isn't good, obviously, but I also think that they're kind of just poking a little bit. Like, I think they're just, I think it's politics related mostly. My friend, I'm not requiring money. Okay, my bad. If you're not, my apologies, man. But again, you said, quote, please send Bitcoin. I am seek land parcel isolate threatening shoe theft. What a quote. The only way I can interpret that is please send that guy money. He's saying somebody stole his shoes. Again, end quote. Again, don't send him money. Please don't send him money. I'm just kind of trolling him a little bit. I don't know what he's saying. It better be Jordans, you know. Hey. That's what it sounds like. That is what it sounds like. Hey, they stole his bonfires, Cal. That's right. They're stealing everybody's bonfires out here. All right, Nvidia started to dump. I'm still in the SOXS trade, and we're green on that one too. Nvidia's starting to fall, though. We're green at Tyson as well. We're green at Walgreens today, at least. If it's under, it's good for markets. So if it comes in under expected, it's good for markets. So like coming in lower than expected is positive for markets because it means inflation was less, right? So lower than expected is better, typically. Hey, thank you, Randy. Shout out to Randy with the $2 dono. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, Prince. Nvidia at 424.50s. ENPH. I'm actually holding a little bit of ENPH. It's not a big position, but I am in a little bit of it. Let me see the ENPH chart. The problem is I don't know enough about this company, and it's starting to dip heavy, but I'm holding a small piece of it. Yeah, we can also look at gold. Like, look at Nvidia fall. Nvidia all the way down to 424s. We'll see if this affects the market. But Nvidia dipping down a little bit. We can look at gold as well. Gold today. Where's the gold ETF? I thought it was GLD. There must be another GLD. Here it is. So here's gold. The GLD ETF is about 170s. Gold is up a little bit today, which is nice. We'll see if it holds. Again, Bitcoin, 29,500. Again, Nvidia starting to dip down. Here's the SPY on the right. SPY down to 447s, 447.90. Yeah, I don't know what gold's going to do with the data here. Again, if we look at actual gold, which is /GC, gold is at about 1950s. All right, guys. Hey, we got about 50 minutes, a little bit under 50 minutes left. Do you plan on trading oil? I'm holding some oil stocks. Like I'm holding Exxon and we're green on it already, but we've already scaled out of a lot of it. So we're holding some Exxon stocks. Yeah, I know. /GC is the futures contract of gold. Yeah, it's at 1950s, like I said. But yeah. Hey, what's up, Elvin? Can you look at ENPH business, PE, and give your take? Sure. All right, so ENPH in phase. Number one, first thing is it's an energy company, I believe, right? So in phase is an energy company. It should be, at least based off of the name. In phase energy. Yeah. So Enphase energy company. So that might be a little bit more volatile relative to other energy plays and energy companies. But yeah, energy company there. With that, we can take a look at like their PE ratios and stuff to see if we get any good data here from it. Again, here is Nvidia. If we look at Enphase here, Enphase has got a PE ratio of about 35. It's not super low, but it's not super high either. So that 35 PE ratio is kind of neutral. It's not, I wouldn't call it good or bad. I think right now when a lot of stuff is extended on the upside, a PE ratio under 40 is decent. But anything could happen, and PE ratio is not the end all be all. PE's, just to put it into perspective, guys, PE ratio is just price to earnings. All right, so the SPY still breaking down. The NASDAQ still breaking down as well here. Look at the NASDAQ in the SPY dip. NASDAQ down to 369s. SPY dipping all the way down to 447.75. Still green on the day, but it's pretty much a neutral day now. Yeah. And gold, what are we expecting if up? How much? I'm not sure what gold's going to react to it. I don't know enough about that stock, Fred, to really have a take on it per se. I'm not really interested in buying it. But yeah, I'm not really super interested in buying it. Maybe we get some good data, but I don't know. Guys, y'all help me translate this. The David guy says, I am suspect. Little Hat Man or market manipulate. Who's Little Hat Man, bro? I mean, Google and Little Hat Man. Little Hat Man. Yeah, that Little Hat Man guy. What a jerk. Give me your best description of who Little Hat Man is. All right, guys. So we are breaking down a little bit. Again, the NASDAQ and the SPY ahead of this report. But again, when we zoom out a little bit, you can kind of see we're still pretty green on the NASDAQ as well as the SPY today. So this dip is not the end of the world, but we are pulling back some. Is it me? I don't think my hat's necessarily little, though. Really, like, I think my hat's kind of big, you know? I think it's a big hat. But hey, is my hat little or big? I don't know. Top 3 Little Hat Mans in the world right now. The Monopoly guy? Oh, you are right. It's the Monopoly guy. I am wearing a hat. Hey, you are wearing a hat. I know, man. Listen. How were Disney earnings? Disney earnings were good. Disney, good guidance is what pushed Disney up. So again, good guidance for Disney. Disney currently sitting at about $89 a share, up from their earnings report. Hit as high as 93s, where we took a little bit off yesterday, but we're sitting on a very small position now. In the green, but it's a much smaller position. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know that. One Love. I didn't know what that meant. I Googled it. I don't know what that means, but I Googled it. And so the Hat Man is apparently a common hallucination among those suffering sleep paralysis. Witnesses claim he's a creature. Ooh, that's scary. Hat man. Dun, dun, dun. That's some scary stuff, dude. Carol had a crazy dream one day, and the dream was actually pretty scary. The dream... Oh, dude, this is going to freak Carol out, man. Because this is exactly what Carol dreamed, dude. Carol told me this dream. This was like years ago at our old house, right? But basically, this is what's creepy. Is that Carol told me about this dream, and it's freaked her out ever since, right? And in the dream, she was laying there, and she couldn't move, right? She couldn't move in this dream, right? And she saw this being that was all black. Like, it was just like darkness. And he basically came and like did something to me. He like took me somewhere, brought me somewhere, did something. And then she woke up, right? And she said he had a hat, I think. Well, now I'm reading this article, and it says the Hat Man is the shadow that feeds on your fear, a sleep paralysis hallucination. Many people have said that during a sleep paralysis hallucination, they see this man. This, you know. And I'll show you this guy right here. And that looks like what Carol described him as. Like, that looks like what Carol described the guy as. So, creepy. Yeah, what's it? I have no idea whether you should buy or sell anything. No idea. Yeah, I mean, I don't think, again, it's obviously not, we're obviously not talking about race here, man. Like, we're obviously not talking about that. 3%. Yeah, I'm going to go with 3.4% is what I'm going to go with. The expectations for inflation data are 3.3% on the month and 0.2% on the, or 3.3% on the year, 0.2% on the month. Again, I don't know what we're going to show up as. I'm going to go with 3.4%, but I think it could also be 3.1%. I'm going to go with 3.4% or 3.1%. And so I'm going to give two answers. But again, I really have no idea what the numbers are going to show up as. Yeah, and this is just one of Carol's dreams. It wasn't like... It was a shadow person is all it was. It wasn't like, had nothing to do with, anyways. Again, so the SPY tried to bounce. We're trying to bounce here. Hey, what's up, Break? Thanks, man. If it goes 3.4%, that means the NASDAQ will drop. Well, we don't know. There's never an exact predictive response, right? So it's like, we don't know what we're going to get. We don't know if 3.4%, I mean, 3.4% will be higher than expected, but we don't know exactly what it's going to be. And again, the month over month reading might be relevant as well. I'm going to go with 0.4% on the month, 0.4% on the month, 3.4% on the year. But again, maybe I'm wrong. Again, nobody knows. And again, I'm just guessing. Again, list your number. What percentage do you think we're going to get today? Guys, what percentage do you think we're going to get today? 3.3, 3.2, 3.4. 3.3 is as expected. I could see that happening too, to be honest. Again, the SPY and the NASDAQ starting to bounce back up a little bit. We're at 447.90s, 447.90s on the SPY. Again, the NASDAQ is at about, the Q, I mean, is about 370 or so. 2.7, 3.4, 3.5, 3.3, 2.3. Definitely not 2.3. That's never happening. It's never happening for this report, at least. Anywhere between 2.9 to 3.3% range. Well, yeah, that's what everybody, I mean, that's the range. It's definitely going to be somewhere in between that, I think. Maybe it's 3.4%. But anti-Semitic remarks, guys, what are y'all talking about, man? I have no idea. I'm literally reading somebody else's comment. I didn't know what I don't see anything about anti-Semitic, and if that is the case, again, I'm obviously oblivious to that. So come on, let's not be dramatic. Obviously, I'm not saying anything like that. Like, come on. And if you guys push that, I'm gonna just ban you because y'all are being ridiculous. Percentage will make the dollar happy. I mean, only if it comes in much higher than expected. Like if CPI data comes in much higher than expected, that's going to probably make the dollar fall or make the dollar go up. Yeah. So if CPI, there's going to be a positive correlation with CPI and the dollar right now, right? So if inflation is really bad, the dollar's going to go up because it makes sense in that regard, where it's like the dollar going up is obviously going to be pushed by inflation going up, right? When prices increase, the dollar goes up. Yeah, I mean, I got you home, but I didn't know that. Again, I was just reading somebody else. And again, when I Google it, nothing like that shows up. And so, I mean, that might be one interpretation of it, but it's certainly not the interpretation that I was using here. And so acting like I am, again, is kind of out there. If somebody else in the comments section is being that way, let me know. I'll ban them. But again, the Hat Man is actually a ghost-like entity that is seen as a shadow-like person, typically wearing a trench coat and a hat. Kind of like the Babadook is what I remember, which is a scary freaking movie. Don't watch that. But yeah, obviously we're not talking about that aspect of it. What happens if it's exactly 0.2% or worse or better? I'm not sure. 0.2% is probably neutral on the month, right? So if it comes out at 0.2%, that's pretty flat or neutral in the month. So again, we'll see, but 0.2% is pretty neutral or flat on the month. All right, again, we're going to read the Wall Street Journal's biggest stories today. Again, CPI data and jobless claims at 8:30. We got 30 minutes or so for that. We also had Alibaba, Ralph Lauren, Capri Holdings, Krispy Kreme, and others dropping their numbers today. Rising oil prices lifted energy stocks Wednesday. So we're watching that also. Yeah, I don't know what the numbers are going to be. I think, again, we typically get thousands of people here because we cover it fast. But I have no idea what the numbers are going to be. I've gotten them right a lot, but I think it's pure luck, right? I think it's pretty luck. Yeah, I think I just got lucky predicting them right. Hey, John, do you think stock will affect what happened? I'm not sure what happened over there. I didn't see it. Yeah, I mean, we get thousands of people here because we cover it quickly. So I've got some pretty good sources that I get the data. I'm not going to share my sources, but I got some pretty good sources that give me the data really quickly. And so, yeah, we're ready. Hopefully we get some good stuff, but again, CPI and jobless claims are pretty big releases, specifically CPI. Again, expectations are 0.2%, 0.2% for CPI. Tomorrow we have PPI data, which is another huge release, very relevant for markets. And again, I think next week we got the FOMC minutes report too on Tuesday, I believe. for the FOMC minutes report. We also had some earnings released this morning. Go ahead and take a picture of this so we can report these earnings. All right, guys. So again, got a little pop up early here, guys. So look at this little pop up. There's the 8 a.m. scrum. And so we'll see if any orders go through ahead of the CPI report. The other thing to understand is that with inflation data, it is a little bit like it is possible that we get some choppiness leading up to this report. So just be careful. It doesn't mean we're going to get like big volatility leading up to it. So just be careful because nobody knows what we're going to get. We got Ralph Lauren dropping earnings today. Ralph Lauren ended up not releasing theirs yet. They're scheduled to release theirs right now. So we'll see what Ralph Lauren shows up as well. I'm wearing Ralph Lauren currently also. All right, so again, here's the earnings drop today. So if you want to see what numbers show up today, I'm going to post a Twitter page with all the drops. We also had Ralph Lauren release theirs. They came in at 234 EPS, beat the 213 estimates. Sales of 1.61 beat the 1.48 estimate. So again, here's Ralph Lauren. I'll put these numbers up in chat so you guys can see. But yeah, Ralph Lauren beat EPS, beat sales. Yeah, Disney went crazy yesterday from earnings. Can you help us understand what the market fears based on how it reacts to CPI? So the market typically is fearing inflation ahead of CPI today. We don't know what the market's specifically fearing today. All we can really do is look at previous releases, right? So what did we have last week, guys? Anybody can help me out with this? What did we have last week? I think we had unemployment last week, right? Let me see. So again, so last week we had unemployment and non-farm payroll numbers. And so unemployment and non-farm payroll numbers on the 4th of August came in. What did they show up as for unemployment and non-farm payrolls? Let's look at that. So here's the 4th, right? And here's actually when that report came out. So here's the NASDAQ on that date. Here's the 830 level where these numbers dropped right here, which seemed to have a negative reaction afterwards. So we were moving down from that report. And again, CPI, let me see. Let me look at Market Watch maybe. Last week. Yeah, so last week, unemployment came in at 3.5%, lower than expected. Payroll numbers came under expectations as well. So again, I think the market's fearing inflation to a certain extent. And so I think we might have a negative correlation with CPI today, which means that like if CPI data comes in low, the market might move up. If CPI data comes in high, the market might move down. But again, to be honest, nobody knows. I might be wildly wrong. We could get the opposite. But conventionally, that's typically what we get. Like lower prices is usually seen as a positive, higher prices is seen as a negative. And so with CPI inflation data, again, the expectational numbers are 0.2%. And so with that, that's a big thing to watch. Again, here's our Twitter page. If you want to see all the earnings that are dropping today, there's our Twitter page. You can check that out and see everything there. Again, what's your percentage? What percentage do you think they show up as today, guys? It's still got about 30 minutes, 25 minutes or so until this release. Big release. We're ready. Disney moving back up over the volume weighted average price. Yeah, I think the market's been up a little bit over the last couple days or the last couple months, and really this year the market's up a lot. And so I do think it's certainly possible that we pull back or dip. Again, I don't know for sure. I think it's possible. I'm not 100% either way, but I think it is possible that we pull back or dip from these reports. And it's important to pay attention to it. Again, thousands of people tune in because we cover this stuff quick, and so stick around because we cover the data very fast, and we're ready. So again, we'll see if we get something good. Again, high or low CPI data. Let me look at our polls. So we did do a couple polls here. Again, 50% think we're going to come in higher than expected, over 0.2%. 28% think we're going to come in under expected at 0.2%. And 22% of the people think we're going to come in as expected. Again, give me a follow on Twitter. We posted that link where it shows kind of all the big stuff going on today. Go ahead and hit the heart. Hit the heart button on our Twitter page. You can see the link of our Twitter page right here. So scroll up, go to that link, hit the heart button. We appreciate it. But yeah, so again, I think we're probably going to have a positive or a negative correlation with CPI data in markets. But who knows? We don't know for sure. Here's the SPY on the right and the NASDAQ Q on the left. But looking at our Twitter posts here, 53% of people think higher than expected on Twitter, 33% think lower than expected on Twitter, and 13% think as expected on Twitter. Yeah, if we look at what might potentially happen, hey, thank you, Gary, for the heart. If we look at what the Fed Watch Tool is expecting for rate hikes in September, so here's the Fed Watch Tool rate hike percentage. Again, so for September, they are expecting about 87% of people think we are going to pause or skip or not raise rates the next FOMC meeting in September. About 13 or 14% think we're going to raise rates. And again, typically like raising rates causes more short-term pain in markets, but it does more for fighting inflation long-term and vice versa. Pausing typically has a more positive short-term influence over markets, but does less, of course, damage to inflation long term. And that's the nuance of it that you want to watch. CPI and core CPI are different because core CPI is CPI data excluding food and energy, which I think base CPI is more important because base CPI, again, includes food and energy. And so I think that's the most important one there. But again, it varies and it's a little bit different for everybody. People like different metrics. Again, on the month, they're expecting 0.2%. Again, also, do me a favor, hit the like button if you haven't already. That helps support the channel as well. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Let's get ready. I mean, I'm in a couple swings, or they're either swing trades or investments, but I am in a couple. All right. What are you expecting? CPI, bullish or bearish? I really have no idea. Nobody else does either. I'm just kind of asking to gauge sentiment to see how many people, but again, I don't know. I don't know. My guess, again, I put out my guesses earlier, 3.1% and 3.4% were my two guesses. On the month, I guess I'm expecting 0.3% or 0.1%, but I don't know. I don't understand others bashing you, John. You're a good man, and I learn many things from you. Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, anytime you do something cool, people are going to be insecure about it and hate, but, it's all love. Again, super proud of the channel, and it's grown a lot. Like I said, we got over 1,000 people here right now, which is really dope. And, we'll have way more than that in about 20 minutes. And so, hey, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. My big thing is to create a free resource and community for traders where we don't sell a course. We don't charge for content. There's no paywalls behind anything. We got only 2 sponsors. And so we do subsidize our channel through sponsors, but no paywalls behind anything. Like everything's free, and we cover the data quickly. And so again, you can either, hey, buddy. Bye, bye, buddy. I love you, man. Love you. Have a good day at school, bud. Love you, dude. But yeah, again, you can either pay $30K for Bloomberg Terminal, or you can get it pretty quickly here at Beginner Trading for free. Every major economic release, Bloomberg Terminal to give you this data quickly. We don't even have Bloomberg Terminal, but again, it costs $30K. Love you. Have a good day. Here. All right. I tell them, go Tigers. Look at this mug right here, guys. For those telling me roll Tide, look at that mug for you. Victory right here. The sweet, sweet victory of LSU Tigers. 2.9%. Hey, what's the numbers going to come in as, guys? Yeah, you can get these coveted, some say majestic emojis here if you become a member, but you don't get any extra content for becoming a member, which is really why I don't really advertise it. If you want to help support the channel, you can become a member. It's like $5 a month. 3.3%. If it goes over 0.2%, that means the market dropped. Most likely, but it's never a given, nor. And so, again, if it's over, that means inflation was higher than expected, which means inflation was worse than expected, right? If it's over 0.2% on the month. The yearly reading is 3.3%. But again, if it's over 0.2% on the month, that means inflation was worse than expected, higher than expected. Again, not good typically for consumers. These prices are going up, and that's not what we want. We want prices to go down. All right, again, we're back up. We're at 448s on the SPY here. Nvidia at 422s. I got some other songs here. Let me see what these songs have. Yeah, let's wait for the leak. Every CPI report, we get a leak. Every CPI report, we get somebody saying that there's a leak and they know what the data is, Every CPI report, we say the market's going to crash. Every CPI report, somebody says something, It's all good. Again, will the market go up? List in chat right now, guys. Will the market go up or down from this report? Let me know. Up or down market on this report, guys. Again, will the market go up or down from this report? Let me know. Chop, up, down, down. Bitcoin at 29.6, down, down, up, down, up. Again, list in chat. You can also vote on the poll that we got going on. So we do have a poll. 51% think over 0.2% out of about 1,400 votes. Again, 51% think we're going to come in over expected numbers. Markets are starting to bounce back up, though. Look at the SPY up to 448.40 here. So again, here's the S&P 500 basically right now. It's at 448.40s on the SPY, which is the consolidated ETF, leveraged ETF of the S&P 500. Here's the Q, which is the same thing for the NASDAQ, but it's up to 370s on the Q. We are getting some upward movement ahead of CPI data here. Guys, will this upward movement continue? Let me know. Dow already pushing up. Oh yeah, the SPY is pushing up. The NASDAQ's pushing up as well. And you can kind of see, so like the reason we get, like, you can kind of see we get choppy action in the queue leading up to the 8 a.m. number. The reason we start to get an influx is because a lot of people have trading unlocked right at 8:30. And so you can kind of see the difference where we get low liquidity movement until 8 a.m. And then after 8 a.m., we start to get some trends forming. We start to get some actual volume showing up on the chart because, again, it all has to do with when brokers are allowing their traders to trade. And a lot of them don't get to trade until 8 a.m. So check it out. There's the link. If you want to use Moomoo, which is open at 4 a.m. Again, Moomoo's great, 0 commission, free stocks if you open up an account and deposit. SPY has a falling wedge on the 15-minute chart. Here's another question. Will the market close green this week? From CPI data again. Will the market close green this week? I don't know. Again, I'm seeing some upward price action. Look at this big move at 370s on the Q. The Nasdaq's pushing up to about 371s right now in the Q. The SPY still moving up. Again, SPY up to 448.50s here, guys. 448.50s. All right, guys. Hey, we got 15 minutes here. 15 minutes. Be ready. We got about 1,300 people here live. About 1,300 people here live. Still popping up, guys. Look at this move. 371s. Guys, 371s on the SPY. Or this is the Nasdaq. Up to almost 371s on the Q. SPY pushing up as well. Let's see if we break 450. 450 seems like a milestone level here. But again, you can kind of see the S&P 500 on the right. Goldman Sachs expectation is 3.2%. Yeah, I think most people are showing 3.3 or 3.2, but it varies. Again, these are all bank and analyst expected numbers. And so they do vary to a certain extent. They're not always they're not always they're not always the same. Again, Disney's still surging up. Right around 89 bucks a share. Nvidia's starting to bounce back too, but man, what a move on the Nasdaq here, guys. Finally starting to dip a little bit. But man, what a move. What would be a bullish result? Number one, I don't know. I don't know what would be a bullish result. What I will say is that typically and conventionally lower is better. So for CPI, again, it's inflation data. This is inflationary data, inflationary metrics, inflationary info, right? And so typically lower pricing is better for markets. Like with inflation low, that's a bullish thing for markets, right? And so in regards to today's report, they're expecting 0.2% on the month. And so if we show up at 0.1% or 0% or whatever, minus 0.1, that's typically going to be a bullish result. But again, we don't know for sure. And we'll have to sit back and wait and see. Again, if numbers show up higher than expected, if we come in over 0.2%, then again, that's going to be higher than expected numbers, which means that inflation was higher. There was more inflation than expected, which is typically not seen as a positive for markets. But again, it does vary. It does vary. Again, the Q down to 370s right now. SPY and the Q pulling back after a pretty big pop. It doesn't mean anything quite yet, but so far we've got some bullish action leading into this report. Again, I'm not saying we're going to get continuations of that, but we do have some bullish action leading into this report. We also could get just straight up choppiness heading into this report as well. That's very possible also. Just choppy, neutral activity, nothing really crazy. All right, we're scalping a little bit more on the NASDAQ here. Now we're down a little bit, but we're scalping a little bit on the NASDAQ on the upside here on the long side leading into this report. We already got a cushion on the day. We're pretty much flat here. I want to see if we get a nice little bounce after this little dip in the NASDAQ and the Q and the SPY. Again, we already took one profit here, and so we're kind of trading with house money as we speak. If we break the bottom of that range, we'll cut it. All right, we're completely flat in this trade. Again, give it a time. CPI data drops in less than 10 minutes, guys. Less than 10 minutes. Again, this is the NASDAQ that we're trading. There we go. I like that. Let's see if we get some more upward movement. It's consolidating, though. And again, ahead of these reports, we might get choppy action. But I think that pullback was big enough to justify taking the trade. And yeah, all right, so we're going to get out pretty much flat on the day. We're down 20 bucks now. And maybe we bounce back in the NASDAQ. I don't know. But we might take another trade right off the get-go here. Again, 9 minutes, guys, 9 minutes. Y'all be ready. Again, still pulling back a little bit. The SPY is almost at the 200 EMA. Starting to get some upward movement here. Yeah, we're probably just going to sit back and wait on the rest, but... All right, guys. Couple minutes here, guys. Couple minutes. Again, what's your expectation for this report today, guys? Let me know what your expected number is for this report. Again, I don't know what the report's going to come in as. I think it can be good or bad, positive or negative. I really have no idea. But I hope it's good. I don't typically want the market to fall or be weak, but anything could happen here, guys. Again, expectations are 0.2%. We are expecting, like, for inflationary data today, guys. Again, last time we showed it at 3% year over year. So the last time we came in at 3% year over year. This time we're expecting 3.3%. Last time we expected 0.2% on the month, and this time we're expecting 0.2% on the month. And so, again, anything could happen here. Nobody really knows what we're going to get for this data release. All right, so we are scalping another green trade in the NASDAQ. We made a lot of money on the long side here. We're going to go ahead and take that off. So, yeah, now we're up about 100 bucks on the day, about $100 cushion on the day here. We caught that bounce. We bought the dip. We sold on the rip. Got about 2.5 to 1 win-loss ratio today. But, again, so we are expecting a 0.3% bump from the last CPI report. So, again, we are expecting a 0.3% bump from the last one. So we are expecting prices to go up a little bit relative to the last report on the year. But on the month, we're flat. So last time we showed 0.2%. This time we're expecting to show 0.2%, but nobody really knows. And again, jobless claims numbers are also a release that you might want to watch today too. So jobless claims numbers are basically how many people are filing for unemployment benefits. But it's a weekly report. So this report drops once a week. So it is a weekly report. All right, again, we just scalped a little bit more on this. Again, you can kind of see we're up about 120 on the day now. But again, jobless claims, a weekly report. It's expected to show up at 230K. 230K expected for jobless claims numbers. And again, got about 6 minutes left. 6 minutes. Y'all be safe, guys. Remember, number one, make sure you hit the live button next to the play button to make sure you're fully caught up on the stream. And so the first thing is that you want to make sure that your thing shows your live button looks like this, right? You want to make sure your live button is red, like this. The little dot is red. That means that you're fully caught up and that you're live. Again, if it's gray, that means you're behind. You're delayed in the stream. Yeah, I mean, big techs. I don't think that's the right move either, man. I think nobody knows what the report's going to be. So even if you're bullish, nobody knows, man. You know what I mean? Shaming and pressuring people to be one specific direction is usually not a recipe for profitability. Again, SPY at 448.30s, 448.30s. If it goes over 0.2%, that means the market will drop or go up despite no one knowing what usually happens. Well, typically higher inflation is worse and lower inflation is better. And so typically there's a negative correlation with inflation data in markets, but it really is, it really does vary. You know, it really does vary from person to person. All right, guys, markets bouncing up, SPY back up, Q bouncing back up some here. Again, here's the Q, NASDAQ on the left. Here's the SPY on the right, SPY at 448.30s. Would y'all rather see the NASDAQ or the SPY when CPI drops? Would you rather see the NASDAQ or the SPY? Let me know. SPY E-mini, SPY E-mini. Any place, website to watch it live? Yeah, we cover it very quickly. Like, we're going to cover it usually before anybody else can get to it. So the reason we get thousands of people here for this stream is because we cover it quick. We cover the data very quick. And so again, just make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on stream. And I appreciate the support, guys. SPY, NASDAQ. Yeah, we're going to put both of them up. But here's the SPY on the right side. So we'll make everybody happy, put both of them up. But here's the SPY on the right. SPY at 448. Again, we got less than 4 minutes, guys. Less than 4 minutes. We have a poll. Again, let me know your predictions, guys. We got Disney stock still moving up about $89. The SPY right under the previous pre-market high level is on the SPY is way up here at around 449 or so. Like, so the pre-market high on the SPY is right around here. Right around there is the previous high of the day on the SPY. So we'll see if we can hit that. Did get a little surge up. Again, we got 3 minutes, guys. 3 minutes. We got 2,200 people here. Let's do this, guys. Again, make sure you hit the live button to make sure you're caught up on the stream. Again, CPI inflation data, which is one of the biggest releases we get all month, is CPI inflation data. It is summertime, so it's a little bit less hyped now than it typically is. But again, CPI data is a very big release, a very relevant release. And again, we'll see if we get anything good. SPY push it up. Again, I want lower than expected numbers to put it into perspective. Again, my guess on today was on the year 3.4%. On the month, my guess was on the month was 0.3%. You know, it was either 0.3% or 0.1%. And the other guess I had, I'm diversifying my guesses here, on the year was 3.1 or 3.3% or 3.4% or 3.1% are my two guesses. Again, let me know your guesses in chat. The data's dropping very, very, very soon. Be ready, guys. Again, we will cover it quickly. There's no leak. Robert says, I watch you every day for years. I learned a lot from you. I lost 180,000 in 21 and 22. Now up 166K this year. In part is because of you. So thank you, man. Hey, thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate the support. Congrats, man. That's great. I don't really want people to copy me. I certainly don't recommend people copying me, but happy for you, brother. Congrats, man. That's great. All right, guys, we got about a minute or two left before the report goes live. A minute or two left, guys. Be ready. Make sure you're caught up. The SPY, rip it up a little bit ahead of this report. Let me get my sources up, because we got multiple sources up. I want to make sure we get the data for you guys as fast as we can. There's those two sources. Let's get another one up here too. All right, guys. Again, be ready. Here we go. SPY pulling back a little bit ahead of this report. Again, expected numbers 0.2%. 0.2% on the month, 3.3% on the year. Be ready, guys. Be ready. Less than a minute. Yeah, that's not right, y'all. I bought PayPal dip a couple days ago, but I don't know where it's at now. Again, what number do you guys think it's going to show up as? 20 seconds, guys. Again, make sure you hit the live button next to the play button to make sure you're fully caught up on stream. Again, you want your stream to look like this, guys. You want your stream to look like this. Make sure it looks live. And the red button, the live button is red, not gray, which is delayed. Again, I'm going to pause this. We're going to do the countdown naturally. 10 seconds. Hit the live button. Make sure you're fully called out. 0.2% is what they're expecting here. We got over 3,000 people here for this release. Here's the report live right now, guys. Here we go. And there's the report live. SPY ripped up originally. Q ripped up. Numbers came in 3.2%, lower than the 3.3% expected. 3.2% lower than the 3.3% expected on the month. It came in at 0.2% versus 0.2% expected on the year for core CPI. We came in under expectations at 4.7% versus 4.8%. And core CPI month over month came in as expected. And so month over month, we're as expected for CPI data. We came in as expected at 0.2% for both regular CPI month over month and core CPI year over or month over month on the year. CPI came in lower than expected on both core and the base metric at 3.2% versus 3.3% expected for base CPI and 4.7% for core CPI versus 4.8% expected. And so lower than expected numbers here for both yearly readings. And then on the month, we came in as expected. Jobless claims came in higher than expected as well, which is positive for inflationary data also. And so for CPI, we either came in neutrally, which is as expected on the month. On the year, we came in under expected numbers. So under expected numbers on the year, both for core and base CPI at on the year 3.2% versus 3.3% expected on the year. And again, on the month, we came in as expected. The market's ripping up. Market looks good. Again, CPI month over month came in as expected, but yearly CPI came in at 3.2 versus 3.3% expected. And then core CPI was lower than expected as well. So far, that's given us a positive reaction here. As I suggested, we probably will get. And here is the CPI reading on screen. We are putting it in sub-only mode. So if you haven't already, guys, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Jobless claims numbers came in higher than expected, which is better for inflation as well. And then core CPI, both CPI and core CPI month over month came in at 0.2%. As expected readings, guys, as expected readings on the month, lower than expected on the year. Here's the full release, guys. Here's the full release right here with everything you want. And again, yeah, better than expected. Again, I told you guys we cover this stuff quick, man. We cover this stuff fast. Subscribe if you haven't yet. We're in sub-only mode. Listen, we cover this stuff really quick. Again, the reason we get 3,000 plus people here for these readings is because we cover that data quickly. We cover that within like a quarter of a second, maybe a little bit less. But again, market's popping. We'll see if it actually holds. Here's the previous high of the day in pre-market on the SPY. So there's the previous high of the day on the SPY and pre. Again, big pump on the NASDAQ. Big pump on the NASDAQ, big pump on the SPY here today too. Again, what do you guys think the Fed's going to do for the next FOMC meeting, I guess is the real question now. Again, market's dipping a little bit back down, but initially a positive reaction so far, guys. Again, we'll see if we hold here, what happens. But again, initially a positive reaction here. Market's consolidating back down a little bit here on the NASDAQ and the SPY. Still green from this report, but starting to go red. Hey, what's up, guys? Again, so the Q is faring better than the SPY is. The SPY is pretty much flat right now. And so the SPY is pretty much flat currently. Again, it doesn't mean anything, to be honest, because we could turn either way. And again, this is just the initial starting data. Originally, all this data was interpreted as positive, but it is starting to turn. Let's watch the NASDAQ here. NASDAQ consolidating right around flat. The Q is still green from this release, but mostly a consolidation day at this point in time. Again, will the market close red or green today, guys? Let me know. What do you guys think? All right, we are in a beautiful trade right now based off of the CPI data. We're going to go ahead and sell some more. Just locked in about, let me see how much gains we had today. Beautiful trade here. Boom, cut it. All right, so we are up about 850. 850. Again, market's bouncing back on the NASDAQ here. And again, if you haven't already, we have two sponsors here, and we try not to plug anything super early in the stream. But we cover this data quickly for free. We don't charge for content. And again, you can play 30K for Bloomberg Terminal, or you can get it really fast right here. This is why we get thousands of people here. This is why we get 3,000 people here right now. And so again, if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the notification bell on this channel. We appreciate it. We are going to do a sponsored plug. The two sponsors we have, one of them is Moomoo. And again, you can figure out if you like these economic release days. Guys, if you like these economic release days, the dope thing about Moomoo is that, number one, I can build a scanner, but if I go to their economic calendar here, I can look up economic data and look at the biggest releases. And again, you can kind of see today we got CPI, core CPI, jobless claims. I can also go to headlines and see the biggest stories. I can use this to search earnings, all that good stuff. I built a scanner for PE ratio swing trades. That's really nice. I can look at strategies, market hotspots, see a heat map, see what's moving in pre-market. Zero commission stock trades. It gives you free unusual option activity, and their pay portfolio allows you to follow different traders. And so again, if you open up an account and deposit $100, you get 5 free stocks. You open up an account and deposit at least 1,000, you get 15 free stocks. You open up a deposit over 5K, you get the previous 15 plus a free share of Google or Tesla. So you can check that link out here as well as pinned at the top of the chat. Also, guys, another one of my sponsors is TopStep. TopStep, if you want to actively day trade like you see me doing this right here, again, this is on TopStep. There's no PDT rule in futures, so you see me day trading the NASDAQ, which is essentially the Q right here, and I can trade this economic release in futures because there's no PDT rule. And TopStep is the most legit funded program in the world. They pay out millions, fund thousands of traders in actual withdrawals every year. And again, they're the most legit. They've been around for over a decade. What they do is they give you a demo and they test your skill. I got funded last week or the week before, and we're trying to get funded again on another account. And again, what they do is they give you a demo, they test your skill. And it really is the cheapest way to learn day trading with the smallest risk. So if you pass the combine, they give you a 50K demo for the base one. If you can hit 3K in profit on that demo without losing over 2K and following their rules, they fund you 50K with a 90% split, and you get to keep your first $10,000 in profit. And so it creates the scenario where if you lose, the base combine's $49 on TopStep. It's really cheap. If you lose, it's not the end of the world. But if you pass it, you get 90% of your split anyway. So the rewards are the same. So it's the best of both worlds. Great way to learn day trading. Most people are going to fail because most day traders lose money, regardless of whether they're on TopStep or not. But it's so much cheaper to try this out than to put up the money yourself in the beginning. And it's just a really good way for new traders to learn. If you want to check them out, here is the link. Again, they are a sponsor of mine. I'm certainly biased in their favor, of course, as well, which I'm very open and transparent about. But again, you can check out that link. The CPI numbers might be right below. Is that CPI number better than expected or worse? It's better than expected or neutral. So all the CPI numbers today, they were either better than expected, which is lower than expected, or they came in neutrally, which is on the month. Both core and base CPI came in as expected at 0.2%. The yearly CPI reading came in at 0.1% less than expected, so lower pricing than expected, which is typically better. Both of the yearly readings were lower than expected. Both of the monthly readings were as expected. Why are the views falling fast? Well, because CPI came out already, man. It all hits the climax at 8:30 when CPI report comes out, and then it kind of dwindles down afterwards. But that's pretty standard for all the channels. That's pretty normal, you know. ETH started pumping, yeah, for sure. It's been a crazy day, guys. Honestly, we get kind of choppy action in the SPY. The Q is pulling back. Q's holding its gains. Q's a little bit more tech-based than the SPY, but it's holding its gains a little bit better. All right, so we are breaking down a little bit of the SPY. If we really start to break down under 448s, we'll start potentially shorting the market if it sets us up for it. Got to get rid of the duck song. I can't handle it. It's the greatest song of all time. Definitely top 3, but still. Again, the real story of this is what happens to the market now after the reading here. So again, you remember the last report, we had similar numbers to this reading. So the last CPI report a month ago, we had very similar numbers relative to the last meeting. But the market ended up ripping up and holding those gains for the most part. But then we did start to turn down a little bit afterwards, I guess. So again, we'll see if we hold or what happens here. But the SPY is down now relative to the report. The Q, which is the NASDAQ, is holding a little bit better. So the Q is holding a little bit better. It's more tech-based is the Q. But they're both pretty flat. Like, they haven't really moved that much. I think the market went up too fast. Yeah, I agree. Well, it depends on what time, Sun. So Sun says if you're new to trading, don't think about making money. Yeah, I mean, most day traders lose money in the first few years. And I think that's why those funded account programs are useful, is because they limit your risk, right? Like, if you could have some pressure, learn to trade, and if you're good enough, get funded for under $50, that's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal. Again, if you want to check out Top Step, here's the link, but that's a pretty good deal, I think, right? There's a neutral reports a neutral reaction to markets. Yeah, to a certain extent, that's probably accurate. So again, jobless claims came in much higher than expected. And I like the reality of that is, though, like, the way the market's been the last year, because inflation has been so highly feared, is that a higher jobless claims number is not as negative as people want it to be. You know, like, higher jobless claims numbers typically mean better things for inflation, right? So like, a higher jobless claim number is typically better for inflation because it means less spending, right? Like, to understand the nuance of it, more people spending is bad, right? So more people working means more people spending, and more spending is bad because when more people spend, businesses increase prices to keep up with it, right? Because they can, right? If more people are buying your product, at a certain point, you're going to say, hey, I might want to increase my prices to have better margins. And so while typically unemployment is seen as a negative, with inflation in perspective, I think it's arguable. And it is something where I cover jobless claims every week for the last year plus. And the reactions to jobless claims are pretty varied. But again, jobless claims is a weekly report, so it's not going to heavily influence things, to be honest. Like, that's not any, like, the jobless claims numbers are not why the market's falling. They might be falling for other reasons, but it's not from the jobless claims release, because that's a weekly report that we cover every week. That's just not the biggest one. Hey, what's up, Todd? Hope you're doing good, brother. I see you growing on social media, man. Yeah, y'all go subscribe to my boy Todd at Traveling Trefs right here. Go subscribe to this man. He's got some great content with his family. He's traveling the world, man. He's living the dream. He's traveling. You know, he's going from state to state in an RV with his family, visiting a bunch of cool places. I low-key watch him on Facebook. But yeah, y'all go follow that man. Give him a subscribe. Yeah, if you want the link to any of my sponsors, link is in the description. All right. Let me know if you guys are ready. CPI inflation data coming in lower than expected or as expected here on the year, on the month. SPY starting to bounce back up a little bit if we zoom into this here. So again, to put this in perspective, SPY bouncing back up. Here's the 200 EMA, which is a relevant milestone indicator. Right around 448 on the SPY. We'll see if that holds. Another thing that we got going on this month, Another thing that we got going on this month is the Jackson Hole Symposium, which is like a huge release. Like the last Jackson Hole last year, we got like, I think we got like, it was either like 5,000 to 8,000 people watching our last Jackson Hole stream. And so that's a very relevant thing. I don't know what the date is going to be. I think it's going to be in a couple weeks from now on like the 24th or 25th for Jerome Powell's comments, which are the most important ones. And the symposium lasts for a couple days. But yeah, we'll see what happens now. Tomorrow, we also have PPI, guys. So be on the lookout for PPI tomorrow, which is the other side of the inflationary coin. So again, this is CPI inflation data. All right. So today's is CPI inflation data. And that's consumer inflation, right? How much prices are rising specifically for consumers. Tomorrow, we have the other side of that inflationary coin, which is called PPI. It's the producer price index. So it's how much prices are rising or decreasing for sellers or producers or sellers, basically. We eventually have deflation. That's when you sell. Data is good. Leads for rate hike. Is it? Yeah, we can look at what the CME group is now expecting in terms of rate hikes. So again, here's the probabilities of rate hikes. Next thing, we'll see if this influenced as well. It was 86.5% previously, and so now even more people are overwhelmingly expecting a pause for the next rate hike. So again, previously this was at about 87.5% prior to this report. Now we're at 90.5%. 90.5% after this report. And so, again, even more people are expecting a pause with no rate hike on the next Fed meeting in September. And again, we'll see if we actually get it or not, but really interesting to watch. Again, markets have popped back up a little bit, pretty flat. We're almost completely flat. If you look at where the data actually came out, the data came out right here. Right there is where the data came out. And so we're actually pretty flat on that on the NASDAQ. SPY is slightly red, it looks like, but we're actually pretty neutral here too. So far a neutral reading. Yeah, typically the voters were wrong here. We got about 3,000 votes. 48% think over 0.2%, and they were wrong. So again, the SPY is starting to surge up. It's at 448.20s here, guys. 448.20s. What's crazy is like you get a lot of people who tell everybody the market's about to crash ahead of these reports. You see it every single time, man. They're like, oh no, the market's going to crash. CPI data is going to come in way higher than expected. My analyst told me so. Like, number one, like a lot of you guys are relying too much on like newsletter analysts that don't really understand and watch these things super heavily. Like in the end, like what happens is people get these newsletters, man, and they get these newsletters and these newsletters tell them one thing and then they just kind of regurgitate that back to everybody. But the problem is that they become so rigid in what their analyst says. Even me, like, don't believe anything I say. Like, always be skeptical and look for their truth, regardless of whether I say it or not. Because one thing I've seen very often is like people push a really bearish narrative and then they're wrong and then they just kind of stay quiet, right? So like yesterday with Disney earnings, for instance, right? We had one guy who was just like, hey, everybody sell. Disney's going to tank. It's going to crash. Ha, 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 ha. And then Disney ripped up like 10%, from their earnings report. And then it was just kind of cricket, silence. Same thing here. A lot of people said, oh, it's going to come in much higher than expected. Now we came in under expected or neutral or as expected. And then, and so I'm okay with having bearish views, guys. I don't want it to seem like I just don't like bears. What I appreciate is saying I don't know or a lack of definitive answers, because nobody really knows the reactions we're going to get from this stuff, as well as like diversity and predictions, right? If you're only bearish and all you ever say is bearish and it's just bear, 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 eventually it's just kind of like, all right, like we get it. It's extended in positions. So I guess the point, guys, is understand nobody knows ahead of this report. Nobody does. And again, whoever you're following online, if they're telling you that they know definitively, like if they're pressuring you to sell, they're pressuring you to buy even based off of these reports, they have no idea what they're talking about. So just be smart, guys. Be smart. It's all guessing. No, you don't have to trade every day on Top Step. Let it go, John. We're trolling. I'm not talking about you, brother. I'm talking like, listen, we could all have our own predictions and that's fine, but y'all better believe if y'all come in here and y'all pressure everybody to sell, 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 and a lot of people were not trolling. They were genuinely pressuring people to sell. And then the data comes in better than expected. Look, y'all can give it out. Y'all better be ready to take it. That's all I'm saying. Because I am not afraid to say I told you so. Hey, Disney's starting to move back up, almost back up to $90 a share. Yeah. And again, the market doesn't mean anything right now. It's completely flat, to be honest. The report was mostly flat, and the market activity afterwards was mostly flat. And again, I think a lot of the bearish traders are in mortgages, right? Like I think if you're in mortgages right now, it's confirmation bias. And confirmation bias is a powerful thing, right? Like, okay, imagine you're a mortgage broker and you based your businesses around mortgages, right? Like your business is based around mortgages, and mortgages, like rates have shot up over the last year. They've gone from like 2.25% a couple years ago to like 7+%, which is very high. Right. And so a lot of mortgage businesses struggled. I'm in real estate. So a lot of mortgage businesses struggled. And like typically yields follow the market, or like mortgage rates follow the market. So like when the market is doing really well, the mortgage rates are going to go up with the market to a certain extent, right? Especially if you zoom out, like the more you zoom out, the more that's true. And so a lot of these guys that are in mortgages really want the market to go down, because that means mortgage rates will probably go with it and then their businesses will get better. But I think sometimes that clouds people's judgment to where they're only bearish because that's what they want to happen. And when you mix that with like emotion, with like me saying, hey, the market doesn't have to go down. The market could go up. The market might keep rising. That might trigger emotions in people, and like people get weird. But again, in the end, you guys got to understand, like, I'm pretty neutral in all of this. Like, I'm pretty neutral. Like, I don't know what the markets are going to do, especially with stuff like the SPY or the NASDAQ. I think we could correct sometime soon. I think the markets are up a lot. But again, the natural flow of the market is long-term, the markets are going to go up, right? So regardless of what anybody thinks, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Q most likely, when you zoom out far enough, it's going to go up long term, despite whether we have crashes or corrections or pullbacks in between. So the biggest edge in markets, guys, is that it's going to go up long term. And so you can bet long term against the market, and that's fine. It's kind of a sucker's bet. Again, the natural flow of the market over a century of statistics has shown that the market's generally going to go up long term. Now, we might have crashes in between, and I don't know if we're about to hit that now. Again, I really don't know, but it's certainly possible. Yeah, core CPI month over month and base CPI month over month came in as expected, but the yearly CPI readings came in better than expected, which is lower than expected. Yeah, well, mortgage rates are probably like they're pretty neutral, like in terms of like long-term outlook. I think people got really used to, and including like mortgage brokers, I think they got really used to low rates at 2.25, and it's really easy to sell mortgages when the rates are 2.25. But that's not normal, And again, I think I think you got to be objective, and you can't, like, again, you can't shoot the messenger. Like, you can't get mad at me for having a different view. And if you are, again, that just shows emotion. Um, in the end, like, it's all love. And maybe we do correct. Maybe mortgage rates go down. I'm a real estate agent. I want mortgage rates to go down too. Trust me. But like, I don't know if they're going to right now. Yeah, I don't know whether you should exit your position or not, T. Maria. I have no idea. Nobody knows whether you should get out or go long. Nobody knows what the market's going to do either. Yeah, as a past mortgage broker for 15 years, low mortgage rates breed future financial bubbles. 100%. Yeah. And so I'd love them to go down, but again, I make money no matter what, you know. And so it doesn't matter either way for me personally. But I'd love to make more money in real estate, but yeah, it doesn't matter either way. Looking good so far. I'm so mad at you, John. Hey, it's all good. I'm locked in at 2.25. I got my home in December. Hey, nice TV. That's great. Hey, that's probably one of the better home buys ever, TV, Tyree. Because that was right before prices shot up. Still had low interest rates. And so you got low interest and appreciation over the last 3-4 years. That's probably the best time to buy a house was in 2020 before it got really crazy in real estate. Again, what's the market going to do in the first 20 minutes after the opening bell? Do you think we're going to go up, down, or sideways? Yeah, I streamed the call yesterday for DIS. All right, we still got a couple minutes before the market opens, guys. And again, we are going to pivot to where we actually day trade the opening bell live. And so be ready. We are going to be day trading the open live on stream. All right, guys. So we are sitting tight. Again, mostly numbers came in pretty positive here. NASDAQ trying to hold a little bit here. I mean, the report was good. For the most part. There we go, locking some more green in. Great channel. Hit the like button. Great stream. Glad to stop by. Thank you, Philip. Brother, clarify the relationship between US dollar and inflation. Typically, and it's a generalization of what typically happens. Again, I don't know for sure, but typically there's a positive correlation between CPI inflation data and the dollar index, right? And you might ask, why is that? The reason there is that is because if inflation is worse, the dollar goes up because, again, more spending, right? And vice versa. If inflation is down, the dollar typically goes down. You know, so like usually the market and the dollar have a positive or have a negative correlation between the dollar and the market. So like the dollar goes up, the market goes down, the market goes up, the dollar goes down. Typically, it's not always though. It's certainly not 100% of the time. It's all just kind of generalization. What's up, Jamie? Is Is it true you have to pay to drive on the freeway in Texas? Well, there's certain toll roads where it's like certain SPY rip it back up, guys. Look at the SPY pop. So SPY back up to over 449s and bounce it back up. But yeah, there's certain toll roads, and so like there's different toll roads in Texas that you have to pay to be on. But there's also other routes that don't require them. So like they're just kind of like convenience routes where it's like if you want to get to where you need to go faster, you can take a toll road. You got to pay like a small amount of money. I think it's like $5 to go through a couple of different ones. But yeah, there are toll roads here. There's pros and cons of Texas. Texas has got a great economy, great job market, low gas prices, no state income tax, but high property taxes. A little bit more restriction on personal freedoms, I would say. Like you're more restrictions on personal freedoms, despite what a lot of people stereotype Texas to be, which is freedom. Yeah. There's no ballot initiatives here. So you're in charge. The politicians are ultimately the ones in charge of it. And they're getting a lot of donations from pharmaceutical industries, the prison industry. And so, I think that's the truth here as well. But taxes are better. Yeah, I mean, the markets are green relative to the CPI report. Any trend people are trying to give right now is probably pretty biased. This is the trend right now on the SPY or on the Q. Here's the trend right now on the SPY. The SPY put in a little bit higher lows, so you can kind of see that trend maybe going up. But right now, it's pretty neutral on both the SPY and the Q, and the NASDAQ, basically. So, like, a lot of these are chop. Now, I would say the last 20 minutes or so have been bullish, but still getting some chop. Yeah, CPI data might be right below me right here. Could be. It might be right there. Yeah, energy costs are rising. But it's not just in Texas. It's kind of universally. Yeah, my dad's a falconer TV. So he trains and hunts with hawks and falcons. Again, I'm from Louisiana originally, not Texas. But yeah, he's a falconer. Again, Disney's still surging up. That's nice. Again, I'm still sitting on it. Disney almost up to $90 a share again. Just going to sit on the rest probably for a little bit. Yeah, for sure. You pay back your taxes on property here. So like, again, if you own like a $300,000 home, you're going to be paying about $6,000 to $8,000 in property tax right now a year. If you own like $1 million home, you're going to be paying like $20,000 a year in property tax. So yeah, they certainly do recoup it on property tax. What's your favorite food? Probably Mexican food. I love like birria tacos, enchiladas. Like that's probably my favorite food. Even the desserts. I love churros, sopapillas. It's probably my favorite food. That or like Mediterranean, like hummus, chicken shawarma, gyro. SPY moving up to 449s here, guys. So again, the SPY bouncing back over the previous high of the day, which is right around here. The NASDAQ's still trying. So we're still trying here, but starting to edge up there. CPI data is positive or negative. The CPI data was positive. When you look at all four major releases today, guys, which is core CPI and base CPI, okay?
2 of those readings were neutral, and 2 of them were positive or better than expected, right? None of them were worse than expected in terms of CPI inflation data. None of them were worse than expected. All of them were either neutral or better than expected reports. Yeah, may rise, but then May, September slide. Yeah, maybe. Fed funds tool still didn't change 50-50 on another rate hike. I'm wondering, which one are you looking at? Let me make sure I'm looking at the right one. What I'm showing in terms of the Fed watch tool is the probability for a rate hike in September is almost 91%. So 91% of people, I'm sorry, that's opposite. 91% of people think we're going to pause this next cycle. So the next 6-week cycle, which is in September, on September 20th, 90.5% of people think we're going to pause or skip and do no rate hike. Again, we're currently at 500 to 525. They're expecting 500 to 525. Or no, I'm sorry. We're currently at 525 to 550. They're expecting us to stay at 525 to 550, which is, again, a skip or a pause. Only less than 10% of people think we're actually going to raise rates the next cycle. And again, the markets are moving up. The SPY is moving up to 449.30s. The Q is moving up to almost 372s. I don't know why you have not mentioned once that it's still up, which is bearish. Because I'm looking at the expected numbers, guys. I'm looking at the expected numbers. Again, CPI data has come in better than expected, as well as decreased. Not prices haven't gone down, but the rate at which it's growing has decreased almost universally on both core and regular CPI over the last year plus. All right. We already knew it was probably going to be higher than expected, so that's not a shock, or not higher than expected. We already knew that it was going to be higher than last time because the expected number was 3.3%. And last time we came in at 3%. So the market already knew and priced into that outcome, which is, again, a little bit worse than last time, but still better than expected here. And so that's the reason the market is up right now, is because despite it increasing relative to the last month, it was still better than expected. And so that's, with this type of stuff, like, we could look at the last reading and that's somewhat relevant, but it's really relevant to expectations. Like, expectational numbers are going to be what influences this, not, anything else as heavily as expected. And so again, when we have 4 readings, 2 of those readings are better than expected and 2 are neutral. That's a decent report. And again, the market's pushed up some, but it's still pretty neutral. Again, with the somewhat neutral reading, we got somewhat of a neutral reaction, but slightly positive. And I guess that's what you would expect from this report, which is slightly positive, neutral, but slightly positive. But again, if you guys disagree, it's all good. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's all love here. Nobody really knows what the market's going to do, and we're all just guessing anyway. All right, guys, we got 22 minutes before the market opens. 22 minutes before the market opens. Again, starting to get a little pullback on the NASDAQ here. We'll see if that holds. We're looking at other market news. See if we got any other market news here. All right, so Super Micro, which is SMCI, announced high volume production of the E3.S all flash storage portfolio. What is El Nino? Oh, El Nino. All right, so El Nino year is going to persist through winter of this year. It's associated with a band of warm ocean water that develops in the central and east central equatorial Pacific. And again, like most hurricanes, tornadoes, and stuff like that, they happen because hot air and cool air run into each other. When they run into each other, it forms a funnel. And that funnel causes hurricanes, it causes tornadoes. on a larger scale, obviously, hurricanes and typhoons. And so I guess that is more likely in El Nino periods of weather. Again, SPY pulling back to that VWAP level and then bouncing back up. Again, the Q still consolidating. Yeah, but that news, KC, happened like a couple days ago. Might have been yesterday. Yeah, and I think sometimes the bears they get into this habit of like one thing I'll see with bearish traders is that whatever the report is, they're going to try to find the bear story of it, right? So it's like, here's an example. Over the last year, base CPI was decreasing, right? So base CPI, they expected like 4%. They showed 3.5 or whatever, right? But core CPI might have gone up 0.1%. And so the bears tend to have a habit of saying, oh, look, core CPI went up 0.1%, even though base CPI decreased heavily, and then it's like a reading like this where as expected month over month and better than expected year over year. But again, the bears tend to find the bearish story, which is that in this case, we went up relative to the last one. But again, everybody overwhelmingly expected that. That's why we were already baked into that to a certain extent. The market's honestly responding as I thought it might, which is neutrally from this report, as you might think it would. Again, this was a neutral / slightly positive CPI report, and the market is showing that. The market is up slightly, but mostly neutral from this report. And we'll see what happens for the rest of the day. Who knows? Again, what do you guys think? Do you guys think we're going to close green today, guys? Let me know. All right, so we got a little dip consolidation here. Let's see if the market pops. All right, market's kind of consolidating now. Looks like it maybe wants to go green, but who knows? We're kind of sitting pretty flat and neutral at this point as we speak. Again, it's a very neutral reading. It came in as expected, a little bit worse than last time, but better than the expected numbers on year-over-year data. Again, month-over-month data came in essentially as expected here. Again, we did have some earnings today. We had Alibaba earnings drop. So again, today we had Alibaba, NVO, a couple other ones. Again, market's breaking down a little bit, it seems. And now we're right back up. So again, getting a very choppy market right now. Get a very choppy market. We're going to see if we bounce back up. Again, the report was slightly positive, I think, but everybody's a little bit different. Market's bouncing back up a little bit, mostly getting some consolidation in here. So on the day right now, I am up. This is my graph pulled directly from the platform. We're up about 1,100, a little bit less than 1,100 on the day. So like that's our P&L currently on the day so far. Again, that's on a funded account program called Top Step. If you want to check it out, link is in the description. What they do is they give you a demo, they test your skill. Yeah, I've got multiple accounts. Yeah, I got multiple accounts. I'm in Disney right now. We've been holding it for a while. Disney, we trade a lot. You know, if you want to see how much I trade Disney, I think I showed you guys this image yesterday or the day before. Let me see if I can find it again. But yeah, we trade Disney a lot. Trust me. Think we'll sell off at the open? I really don't know, honestly. All right, so we just got out a little bit another trade here. We've mostly been buying the dips on the NASDAQ and riding the bounce. And so again, we're up about 1,400. So not too shabby. Market looks strong over the last couple minutes, but who knows if it's going to hold. All right, just made another little scalp. We are up 1,500 or so in this account on the day, 1,500. Let me see what we're up. Net. Okay, got you. Net, we're up right around that, honestly. Again, we got 13 minutes here, 13 minutes until the opening bell. All right, so now that we're up nicely in that one, we're going to pivot to a different account here. And so here's the NASDAQ, guys. We are going to keep this up on the screen, but we're going to put a side chart up here so we can see it. What are the two stocks you guys think I should have on my side chart? Again, we're going to keep Tesla up there, maybe Apple. There we go. There's JP Morgan. There's Tesla. We can put like Apple up here. And here's the NASDAQ right here. Basically the Q. This is the futures version of the Q right here. Market's still looking pretty good. Starting to move back up a little bit. But again, slightly green movement here, which is kind of what you would expect, I guess. All right, guys, 12 minutes, 12 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I think smart money understands that nobody knows what direction the money's going and doesn't, you know, call traders that are taking the other direction dumb. You know, in my personal subjective opinion, I think that's what smart money does, is not really pressures or calls names or says anybody's smart for going their direction or dumb for going the other direction. Nobody knows, guys. Nobody knows. I think long term, if you bet against the market, that's dumb. But it depends on how long term. I think over a period of 1 to 2 years, nobody knows the market dynamics of that. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I think when you zoom out to 5+ years, typically if you buy now and sell in 5 years, blue chip, large cap, broad market ETFs, stocks, you're going to most likely make money over a 5-year period long term. Short term, anything can happen though, you know, so short term, anything can happen. Core is declining. Yeah, core going down. That's good. All right, guys, remember we got PPI tomorrow. Very relevant inflationary metric, PPI data. Pretty big release. Yeah, Disney back up to basically $90 a share, 89.80s. The dollar right now is down pretty big on the day because the market is up on the day. So the dollar is weak today. It's gapping down from about 102.48 on the dollar index to about 102.10. So the dollar index is down. The market is up today. You're doing a fantastic job with info and your knowledge. Thank you. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, again, I mean, my dream of this channel, you get people that hate and people that trolls. But again, I think anytime you do something cool, people are going to be like that. And I think ultimately, I'm living my dream, man, with this channel. I'm super proud of it. And I thank you guys, man. I couldn't do it without all you. So I really do appreciate the support and love, regardless of whether I agree with you guys all the time. And that's kind of how I am. I mean, sometimes I agree, sometimes I disagree. If you're respectful about it, then, you know, it's all good. And I can appreciate you. And so, hey, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's keep the run going. Again, now my channel's pushing towards, we are pushing now towards 113,000 subs. 113,000 subs is what we're pushing for. So, hey, if you haven't already subscribed, hit the notification bell. We got 8 minutes until the opening bell, guys. 8 minutes. Still got about 900 people here. And so, yeah, let's keep the growth. Again, remember, guys, just to give you some dynamics of the market, right? So August is usually a pretty good month of market activity, right? So like August is typically pretty solid. September is the worst month, the worst month out of all the months, right? Is September. September is historically the worst month. It doesn't mean it's going to be bad this September, but historically September is the month with the least edge on the upside, at least in markets. So just understand that dynamic moving into it. Understand that nuance of it. Again, August right now is typically a really good month. Let me see if I can find that graph. Gotta find a graph here. That's not a bad graph right there. All right, so here's this year's charts. This is actually a really interesting graph. So here's the S&P, right? This is from ycharts.com. Here's this year, right? So January, market pushed up 6.18%. February decreased 2.6%. March increased 3.5%. April increased 1.5%. May increased 0.25%. June increased 6.47%. In July, we are up 3.11% in July. So August is what we're in now. I don't know if we're green or red this month. Let me see. August started right here. So it looks like we're slightly red on August, but we're actually pretty neutral. The previous level was at 449s, and the SPY is currently at around 449. So we're actually a pretty flat month so far in August. The dollar index is starting to push up a little bit. It's at 102.10s, and the SPY is starting to pull back a little bit. But again, so far from this report, we're pretty neutral. Let me see if I can find another graph here to show months. Okay, so yeah, here's the graph I was looking for. So again, here's the S&P 500 index average percent change each month from 1928 to 2023. So almost a century of data here. January, usually a good month. February, a losing month. March, a good month. April, a good month. May, a slight loss month. June, a good month. July, a really good month. August, a somewhat good month. September, the worst month of the year, typically averages minus 1.1%. It's called the September slump, and then the rest of the months are green, especially heading into December. So that's basically what the market does historically on a statistical basis regarding each month. Again, September slump. It's the worst month historically for averages in the market, and will we hit a September slump this year? I don't know. Yeah, Joe, it might be right below me, brother. No, so August is typically good. Again, August is typically good. September is usually the worst. August is okay. It's not like the greatest. Question, what kind of 9-to-5 jobs have you worked, John? I mean, I'm not going to be too specific so people can't steal my identity, number one. But I've worked a lot of different jobs. I've worked a lot of service industry jobs. I've worked a bunch of different jobs, man. I've worked as I manage people's benefits for like employer benefits with like different health insurance companies. I managed like United Airlines benefits. I worked as a driver in some places. I worked in the service industry. I worked as a bartender. I've run a couple of my own businesses that have made money. Currently I'm a real estate agent. I also do some software development. So I do some freelance work, mostly in software, mostly front end. So like React Native, JavaScript programming mostly. Does anyone feel market is not responding correctly to data? I mean, there's no correct response. Typically, if the market, like right now, I think this market is responding appropriately to this data. Again, if you look at what the data showed, which is a decrease in month-over-month inflation. So a decrease relative to the last month-over-month inflation for core CPI decreased month-over-month. Base CPI was neutral month-over-month, or it might have been, but was down year-over-year relative to the last month's reading. But versus the expected numbers, everything came in as expected or better than expected, right? So I would interpret that as being a neutral, although slightly positive report, like slightly good report, but mostly neutral. And if we look at the market, what the market has done since this report, we're seeing neutral range, a neutral activity, but slightly up relative to when the report came out. And I think that's appropriate. Now, the market is not really based off of company health or anything like that. It's based off of psychology, what people's perceptions of these companies and their health are. And so it's never going to be like, I wish the market was as easy as just waiting for companies to drop good earnings and then buying them, or waiting for companies to report bad earnings and then selling them, or waiting for CPI data to come in positive and buying, waiting for CPI data to come in better than expected and buying, or waiting for PPI data to come in worse than expected and selling. I wish the market was that easy. If it was, we'd all be rich. It would be really easy to make money. You just kind of sit around, oh, Disney's got good earnings, buy. Apple's got bad earnings, short. It would be that easy, but it's not that easy. And anybody that's ever tried to trade earnings or make predictions or bet on any specific direction around economic releases and earnings understands that it's not that easy. And yeah, I wish it was. It'd be really easy to get rich in the market if that was the case. We got 30 seconds, guys. 30 seconds. All right, guys, here goes the opening bell. We'll see if we get something good today, guys. Y'all be safe. Good luck. All right, and here's the opening bell, team. Let's do this. All All right, so there's the opening bell. Initially getting some upward, some downward movement at the opening. SPY flats. NASDAQ starting to fall a little bit. Looking at Tesla here. Let's get a little bit of a zoom in here on this chart. Tesla, here's Apple, two of the most heavily weighted stocks in markets. All right, getting some dips at both Tesla and Apple. All right, getting some flushes down here. I see green and ExxonMobil again today. Green and Google today. Disney, man, loving life with this. There's a retracement and a move back up here for Tesla. Look at that pop on Tesla. That might drag the market back up. Disney up to almost $91 a share, guys. Almost 91. We're going to take a little bit more off now because we can. Just locked in a little bit more profitable than Disney, and you love to see it. It feels good. Tesla ripping up to 240s. Big rip. SPY moving back up. We're getting some big green price action right now. Nice green price action. All right, nice little upward move there. Here's Tesla at 246s. Tesla at 246. Apple at 179s. But man, big pop in the market, guys. Big upward move right now. Yeah, financial fight. I mean, KC football. Yeah, man. Maybe. All right, we got a little pullback here. NQ up there to 15.4. Market's starting to rip. Apple starting to pop back up to about 180s here, 180s. Swing trades are loving this right now, to be honest. See if the market holds. Again, got a little dip. I'm sitting back. I'm not really taking any trades yet. Chaos. Well, it's volatile. I'll say that. I'm kind of looking at a short sentiment though right here, to be honest. This looks weak. Yeah, there's a little flush. Yeah, I told you there's a little flush. Let's see if it holds. I should have shorted it and taken my conviction there, but yeah, I'll be safe, man. This is big volatility. A little bit too close to the opening bell for my specific taste here, so I think I'm just going to hang out and wait. SPY pull back to the VWAP, now back up. Target breaking highs. It's another one of my swing trades are doing really well. Yeah, yesterday we definitely had a losing day on our swing trades, but today we are up about $403. Here's our swings right now. We're up about 402. So a pretty good day so far. We'll see if it continues. Nice thing being helped by Target. Up even more than that now. What's the increase in here, man? Everything. Hey, John, when do you trade? I'm waiting for the bell to settle down first. Like, we're in the first 4 minutes of market open, and so I don't want to push too heavy right now. I'll wait and let it settle down a little bit, and then maybe take some positions after that once it settles some. Once the market really, truly settles a little bit is what I'm looking for. Which who knows when that's going to happen, but I'm trying to let it work. We might miss out on some of these big moves, but again, it's just a little volatile right after the opening bell. There's a high break again, still pushing up. Wow. There's Tesla breaking highs again. Wow. Tesla ripping up, breaking highs. Looks good. We're in a little bit of a Tesla trade. Big pop. Apple starting to reach for those high levels up there. All right, we got a little pullback here. We'll buy this dip. Big pop. All right, just locked in $100 in cushion on that account. $100 in cushion. I will take that. We'll see if we keep it up. All right, now we're sitting tight. So we're up about $100 here. I like this move. I like this down wick. There we go. Made another $100 right there. We are up $200 now. Slowly building up that cushion. Again, this is a different account than our last one. You can see our gains right here. And a big pop, man. Look at Tesla fly right now, guys. Tesla is flying up right now. Huge move. Cool. Let's see if it continues. Huge rip in market activity, guys. And again, this is my point. Like the bears coming out telling everybody the sky's about to fall ahead of every major economic meeting and release. It's just kind of like now. This is why you don't pressure people. Like this is why you don't pressure people to sell ahead of CPI, is because they're gonna miss this, you know, which is a big bounce, man. Yeah, a lot of markets are just flying up. All right, big bounce. We're too extended for me to really want to buy this too, but again, a little bit too extended up here now. We're just kind of sitting back waiting. Yeah, market's surging. And look at this move. Wow, man. SPY up to 450s basically right now. 450s. Huge rip. Again, we're a little bit too high. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green candles in a row now. Yeah, I'm going to sit back and wait a little bit, see if we get some more edge positions right now instead of just pushing too heavy. Tesla's ripping up and you know, flying up. And so, again, I don't really want to buy anything quite yet. I'm just going to sit back. We're already up a lot in a couple different accounts and on our swing trades on the day. Again, here's our swing trades currently. And again, I had a losing day yesterday, just to be transparent. But today, we're up about 430, 425, 430. All right, here's a dip. I'm going to let it settle and then maybe buy it if we start to get some good price action candles. All right, we're going to buy that dip. All right, we bought one dip. We got a little cushion that we could let this one work a little bit longer with. This little pop up. All right, we just made another $70, $80. Again, patience is key. So we are up about 300 on the day so far. Yeah, just kind of sitting back, hanging out. Tesla breaking highs again. Probably going to maybe drag the market up more. Again, we don't know for sure, but it's pushing. That's for sure. Yeah, there's a high of the day break. Still moving up. Tesla up to basically 250 right now. Just underneath it at 248.50. Strong move. I'm going to lock in. I'm going to take a little bit off that just to protect the trade. Yeah, we bought those 2 call options on Roblox yesterday too. It looks like that was the right move. All right, we're up a little bit too much for me to buy the dip yet. So I'm just kind of sitting back waiting for hopefully some good action here. And again, get some free stocks on Moomoo, guys. If you open up an account and deposit $100, you get 5 free stocks. You open up a deposit over 1,000, you get 15 free stocks. You open up a deposit over 1K, you get the previous 15 free stocks plus a free share of Google or Tesla. And I did get Tesla. There's another dip. We also have this paperfolio which we're watching traders. Looking at these heat maps here, you can kind of see this stuff. We also built a screener here. You can see what's on my screener right now, which is stocks around 20-day lows with PE ratios. So this is a pullback scanner. We're not really having anything show up on this one today. And again, tomorrow, guys, we got PPI data. If we look at economic data and we go to 3-star, tomorrow we have PPI data and retail sales next week. And so be ready for that. And again, there's zero commission on Moomoo. Stock trades. It's open the entire time of pre-market. The reason I switched from TOS is because I can trade on Moomoo super early. And so again, if you want to check them out, link is pinned to the top of the chat, as well as in the description. Check it out. Yeah, I mean, I took some off of Disney when it was at the 91s, and it looks like that was the right move. We're still very green. Our average price on Disney is 86.30s. And so again, if you heard me this morning, I took some off at like 91s, 91 bucks, somewhere in between there. All right, starting to get a little dip, but I don't trust this one as much, and so I think I'm just going to wait. Very green action since the opening bell and everything, though, for the most part. All right, so again, there's the pullback. I kind of had the intuition that we might get something like this. And so that's cool. I'm going to look for a little bit more of a dip. I'm going to buy this now. All right, we're about flat. We already got a nice cushion of a couple $100 on the day. All right, there's a little pop, nicely green. All right, so we just made another just about $100, maybe a little bit less for that one. Again, we're very calculated with our dips. Again, at a certain point, you get into kind of a flow state of the market. You really do. Again, here's the second account today. The first one, like I said, we were up a bunch. This one, we haven't had any losses on, and we're up about 350 or so. Very high accuracy so far today. And the rest of the market is following this up. Again, I got out quick, though. I don't want to hold through that. CPI went lower than expected relative to expected numbers. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen now. We got some nice momentum, but again, we're kind of neutral here for me. I think we could either go both ways now. We could go up or down, and I don't know which way we're going to go. All right, so we did get a nice little pop back up to the top, man. Roblox still ripping up. We're up about 5 on the day in swings. That's exactly what we wanted. Yeah, here's the P&L on swings. And again, we did have a losing day yesterday. So again, I'm not trying to act like I'm just always like this, but we're up about 470 on the day in our swing trades. Market's testing highs already, man. Whew. Surging up here, guys. Wow. Again, this is why you don't pressure people to sell ahead of these economic reports. Shout out to those that learn to tune those guys out, man. Such a strong day in everything here, honestly. Again, market just broke highs again. Still surging up. Apple testing highs. Tesla just ripped over highs again for a split second. I don't know if you're trolling me, Har. I think you are, but it's all good, no matter what. Man, market NASDAQ specifically is incredibly strong right now. Incredibly strong. Yeah, I mean, I tried to warn people. People think that I'm only like a perma bull, and I'm really not. Like, there's some times when I think the market's going to fall, and I do think we're still extended heading into today. I just think the issue is that, like, nobody knows, and so it's frustrating, like, because I see traders lose money. Like, I see traders get influenced by the people pushing bear agendas, and again, bears are kind of quiet right now. The ones telling everybody to sell in pre-market, we're pretty quiet now, you know, and that's typically how it goes. They'll probably create another fake account and come back the next day and act like nothing happened, but in the end, I think you got to look at the market objectively, and nobody knows, guys. Nobody knows. Very strong. I certainly didn't know this reaction was what we're going to get from markets. Do you ever invest in companies that align with your personal morals? Is it just the money and data? I mean, I believe in a free market. You know, I look for value wherever it can be found. You know what I mean? Shout out to Michael Burry. I look for value wherever it can be found, man. You know, the problem with morality and trading is that it's really easy to convince traders that they're in the morally right fight when sometimes they're not. You know, sometimes it's nuanced and ambiguous morally. You know what I mean? And so, like, for AMC is a great example of this, where a lot of young traders, you know, they think they're fighting corruption by buying and sitting on a wildly depreciating asset like AMC. They think they're fighting corruption and doing the good moral fight. And Adam Aaron doesn't help by telling everybody that these companies are evil if they're betting against AMC. It's like, look, how do you convince a bunch of young traders to sit on a depreciating asset that's dropped 70%? You tell them they're doing the good moral thing by holding it, right? And so I don't let morality influence my trade decisions. It's just not something that aligns well with profitability, I think. But again, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. chocolate and pretzels. I like chocolate. Market's incredibly strong, man. Tesla breaking highs again. Again for Tesla here, guys. All right, market's really at the highs consolidating. Mute this so it's not making noise for you guys. Again, got a little pullback, but it's not enough to get me interested. Again, the markets are up so much right now that it's just a little bit too extended for me up here, man. It's just a little bit too extended. If anybody has any thumbnail guys that can do a good thumbnail, let me know. I'm looking for a new thumbnail person. Again, I've had a couple people reach out to me, and here's the issue, right? Is like I've had a couple people reach out to me that were like, "Yeah, I can do your thumbnails. We do thumbnails," but what they sent me wasn't very good. It wasn't very good. Like I understand you can use thumbnail design software, you know, like Thumbnail Blaster or something like that, right? But like if it looks like a generic version of that, like I'm not gonna pay for it. You know, I can do that myself, right? Like I'm talking about like genuinely good thumbnail creators. If y'all know any, holler at me. I'm looking for a thumbnail guy, but they need to be good. It can't be like, again, if you send me ones that are not super impressive, I'm just not gonna, you know, respond back. And so I'll pay for them, of course. Just holler at me if you know somebody. Again, Roblox flying up, looking great. Let me see where the market goes now. Tesla testing highs. Apple looking pretty strong too. Where's my new crypto? Oh, there it is. Yeah, AI thumbnail creator might be good too. I'll have to look at that. You're right. It's probably a good idea. All right, guys, market's still testing the top of that range, and Apple is surging up even more today. So Apple flying up right now. Mostly consolidation, though. You can kind of see a really thin, tight range in between all this. So, like, here's the range right now. We'll see if we can break out of this range, but that's the tight range right now. It doesn't mean we're not going to break it, but that's the range I see currently. All right, so we're testing towards the top of the range here, guys. Again, we'll see if we hold or break or what happens here. All right, so we just broke the top of the range again here on the NASDAQ, man. Look at this surge. Again, wow. What a bullish day so far. It's pretty early still. Anything could ultimately happen, guys, just to put it into perspective. We don't really know what we're going to get, and anything could ultimately happen here, so y'all be careful. But yeah, strong day so far for sure. Got a little pullback to that dip area. All right, market's trying to hold that previous high. Again, market's trying to hold that level. Again, what we really see right now is Apple just pumping right now. Tesla ripping up big, pulling back finally some, but just a very strong market, to be honest. All right, we held. Look at that level. So again, they say technicals don't work, but like, look at that hold here. So we drew this line right there. Look at exactly where we bounce, guys. So people say technicals don't work, but imagine the likelihood that I would be able to predict exactly what level this stock bounced out of off of pure luck, right? It's very low probability. And so if you want to know why technicals work on a short-term basis, that is why. It doesn't mean they're actually going to hold. Again, I have no idea what's going to happen here, but that's why you can kind of see technicals. You can see technicals holding. You get a big pop up. Markets are still flying up, honestly, right here, man. Wow. Again, so we have a couple, like tomorrow we have the producer price index, so we'll see how that influences everything as well. I think a car alarm's going off when that's too loud, man. Again, we're up a little bit too much. Tesla's still pumping up, though, guys. Look at Tesla still ripping up. Just broke highs again for Tesla. Over 250 now on Tesla. Hey, baby. All right. You want to come on stream? Huh? Yeah. CPI day. Market's flying up right now, guys. Market is making a huge rip up as we speak. So yeah, market's ripping up. Again, guys, we got my wife Carol here.
Hi. Morning, everyone.
Yeah, the market's flying up. Inflation data came in not much lower, but the inflation data came in slightly lower than expected, and so the market has just been ripping up big. Look at that. So this is the NASDAQ right here. This is the Q. So like, you know how what's her name was talking about the Q? This is the Q basically right here. It's the NASDAQ, and it's up a lot today. It's a broad market ETF. Mostly it's broad market, so it's diversified, but it's a little bit more like tech heavy. So there's more tech stocks in this, like the Magnificent Seven, relative to like the S&P 500. I'll have to look at exactly what the holdings in the NASDAQ are, but man, the market is absolutely flying right now. Again, I'm up about 600 today on my swing trades. Again, here's my day so far on my swings. About $600 in gains today, so I will take that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good job.
Man, thank you. Holding Tesla to 280. I lock in a little bit of profit, but like my big thing is like I diversify. Yeah, if you wanna make money, follow big money. Like big money doesn't really trade pennies. It's like penny stocks. Like, so they're not really penny stock traders. Yeah, my portfolio is bouncing too.
Good.
Yeah, Google is up a lot. I'm trying to see what I should take profit on.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah, like VWAP works because there's so many other traders that are watching the VWAP, right? Like when you compare that to like moving averages, which have really, they've got a ton of different traders looking at moving averages, like different moving averages. You got the 9, the 12. Look at the market fly, man. Again, the market is just ripping up.
Morning, everyone. understand. I mean, yeah, I understand. He's been doing this for so long now that, he talks about it. And
She is happy. It seems she controls what you were doing. She definitely doesn't. I would never let her trade for me.
oh no, not trading wise, but everything else.
Yeah, the house. Yeah, the kids.
That's
yeah,
the case.
baby. I don't know. We're probably pretty neutral. I'm like the man of the house though, so like I will, like, we're pretty split. I would say.
He's got the stuff he does. and
Like,
I've
yeah,
got
I've got
stuff.
my side. She's got her side.
It balances out.
Yeah,
well.
it's a
It
balance.
works well.
Yeah, her and I have been together for like 14 years. So
Morning.
yeah, so Karen and I have been married for 10 years, been together for 14. So
Yeah. For like time is just flying by.
it really
It's
does.
crazy.
As you get older, there's like a stat that shows you that like as you get older, time goes by quicker.
Like, the perception of time is just like this summer went by so quickly. I mean,
Yeah, it really
we
did.
had a good summer though. It was good.
Here, hold on. I'm gonna mute this for a second to talk about something. All right, guys. Sorry. All I'm gonna say is like people are super weird, man. People are weird. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. Again, I'm sitting flat. I mean, I'm not sitting flat. I'm up $600 on the day, but I'm not pushing too heavy into anything right now. Tesla, guys, is really the big winner of the day. Tesla up to 251.50s. Huge green day for Tesla.
I once was young. I feel like that too sometimes.
Yeah. I once was young too.
Yeah. It feels like that more and more. Like, man, I can see it.
Yeah.
I found a few gray hairs and.
Oh, I got a couple gray hairs, man. Not really in my head. Most of my gray hairs in my beard. Like my beard is starting to get gray.
Count. You could say they're blonde. You don't like them.
I did have blonde hair as a baby.
Blonde. Yeah.
Like as a kid.
I found maybe like 2.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say it's blonde. I did have blonde hair as a kid. Like my hair was like super blonde when I was in between like 1 and 7. And then as I got older, my hair turned brown. But
yeah, I could see. I recognize most of these.
Yeah,
these are like the big. Like,
yeah, this
big
is kind of like
hitters.
my long-term portfolio. So these are like companies that are down, but I think are going to be fine long-term.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So these are companies that are down that I think are going to be okay long-term.
I heard that Disney was like having to sell off a few like different parts of the company or something.
No, so Disney owns Star Wars, Marvel. I
Right.
believe they own some of ESPN. It's either that or they partner with them.
Yeah.
But Disney's doing okay. Like they're pretty neutral in the year. And again, Disney is like, look, I'm gonna put up this. Like, look at how much I actually trade Disney. So these are all my orders from Disney for the past few years. So like, I traded a lot. If y'all want to see what I mean, like, look at these orders. This is over the last 4 years of my Disney trading. Like that's toss on Disney right now. So that's what I've been doing. And Disney's probably the stock that I'm probably like one of the most profitable stocks for my portfolio, like consistently over time is Disney.
I'm not gray. I'm gray. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
And that is true. More wisdom, more grays, more wisdom.
Again,
Feel it.
what a day in the NASDAQ, man. Look at the NASDAQ trend. Like I'm gonna get rid of this level because we just kind of flew past it. But again, here's the trend. Now again, I'm not saying we're gonna stay in this trend, but like here's the trend. So we'll see if we hold it. Again, we'll see if we hold it. If you haven't already, guys, again, check out TopStep. TopStep funded program for futures. They give you a demo. They test your skill. Great way to learn because this is the futures market. In futures, I can essentially day trade the NASDAQ, day trade currencies, day trade gold and silver, day trade the S&P 500 through the E-mini or the SPY, basically. And there's no PDT rule in futures, and it's the cheapest way to learn. So like if you're a new trader and you want to day trade, if you put up the money yourself, you're probably going to lose that. All right, that's natural, that's normal, not just on Top Step, but in day trading, most people are going to lose. Top Step is a way to limit your risk to where you could still lose money, of course, but like the base combine on Top Step's $49. And so with your first purchase, the most that you're going to lose is $49. You'll still have some pressure to succeed. What they do is they give you a demo and they test your skill. And if you can hit the target while following their rules, they fund you between 50K to 150K with a 90% split. And so your reward is basically the same, where it's like if you're good enough to pass the testing, which is not going to be everybody, and I think most people are going to lose because most day traders lose, but that's the point, is that it's a lot cheaper to lose a Top Step account than most of the time putting the money up yourself. And if you're good enough to pass it, the split is 90% anyway, and they pay out millions and fund thousands of traders a year in actual withdrawals. There's free funding coaches, and it's just a cheaper way to learn. And so if you want to check them out, great way to help support the channel. There's the link. You can also check out Moomoo. Again, they're a sponsor of mine as well. We're going to pivot to our crypto channel right now. So we are going to be doing a crypto show today.
I wanted to say something real quick on the Lulu. So recently they came out and they said that they were finding these forever chemicals like PFAS, right? There's like the carcinogenic and the bras and in the leggings and stuff like that, the type of material that they're using. So I think it's interesting. I think the more that comes out, people kind of.
So you're bearish on Lululemon?
Long term, maybe. I think it's kind of a fad, kind of like the athleisure,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the trend will hold. I like Lululemon short term. I don't like it long term at all. I think long term there's risks. And so I think you got to be careful with it long term, because I think long term there's risks.
Right.
But yeah, guys, we're going to go ahead and do a crypto show. We're going to move over to that crypto show right now. You won't have to go anywhere. As soon as we end this stream, it should pivot you straight over to our crypto show. But just in case it doesn't, I'm going to post this link so you can check it out. Again, here is the crypto show link. Again, I'm not saying do anything. Carol has much less market experience than I do, guys.
Don't listen to me off the market. I'm just saying something that I have read about it, and I think that the more that comes out, people might kind of rethink their clothing choices. And so that long term, it might not be.
Yeah, she's got much less market experience than me, so don't copy her. Nobody knows for sure. Y'all be safe. And again, as soon as we end the stream, we're going to pivot to our next crypto stream. It should, as soon as we close this stream, it should bring you to our next one. But just in case, the link is in the chat. I love you all. Y'all be safe. If you want to check out any of our sponsors, guys, again, our sponsor links are in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat for Moomoo. Check them out. Again, I'll see you guys over there. Good luck. Y'all be safe today. And yeah, everybody thank Carol for coming on. We'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.